This live stream is presented to you by MaxSpeed TV. All live streaming content that is presented in this telecast is owned by MaxSpeed TV, Rudy Cummings, and the entire crew of MSTV. This may not be rebroadcasted, retransmitted, and retelevised without written consent. Please enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome everybody back here live for tonight's MaxSpeed TV event for the iSCAR RaceLab's Cup Series. Round number 6, gonna hit it at Bristol Motor Speedway as we go live for the Red Line Racing 250, presented by Cody Webster for this evening. My name is Ezeckiel Reyes.
My name is Hunter Rupp.
And I'm Max Shurik.
We'll be your 3 broadcasters here for tonight. I want to thank Hunter Rupp and Max Shurik for joining in the broadcast here for tonight, filling in the boots of Benjamin A. White, whose computer has pooped the bed, unfortunately, but these will be a replacement commentator. So thank you guys for joining us in for tonight's broadcast, as we'll go ahead and transition ourselves into how this race will turn out to be here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Currently up top, Anthony Burrows, Michael Bianchi, Carson Poindexter. Everybody's just sort of fun riding the wall right now as we progress with practice. Only 3 minutes remaining, but here at Bristol Motor Speedway, I think I want to say our first short track in the Cup Series schedule. I'm not really sure though.
Yeah, obviously, short tracks usually. We've seen Richmond run a couple of times this season, and it's been a chaotic mess in almost all of them. Almost tying a caution record in, I believe, the Gold Series race, but I don't remember. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers can handle a short track and handle all these cars around them.
Well, you can say what you want about short track racing in iSCAR this season, but this is what you come into Bristol and expect. So, you know, you're expecting a chaotic race. I'm not going to be surprised if we see a couple cautions tonight, but in between that, you know, we're going to see some good racing. Yeah,
that's right. I think everybody has to sort of work themselves around this one keyword that would be survival here for tonight. I think everybody wants to get to that lap 200 mark, and after that start racing from 50 to go on forward, in my opinion. That's how I usually play out Bristol, but the question is, can you even get to lap 200?
Yeah, a lot of it's conserving not only the car, but also your tires, because obviously we only have a limited number of tire sets in iSCAR. Bristol's known for eating them up, especially, and it's going to be very fun to see how they can all manage their tire sets and their cars.
And even before that, the LCQ today, I'm very looking forward to the LCQ. I feel like we're going to see some really good racing in there even before we make it to the feature. We've seen some interesting names in the LCQs. Like just last night, we saw Sartaj Maan and Andy McDowell in the LCQ. I think they could see some really good racing here, and you know, potentially, probably a couple wrecks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. For Sartaj Maan in that number 49, he's had a really bad luck in the LCQs. Just last week in the Auto Club LCQ, he found himself in that position, and unfortunately, he got turned in the lead off of turn number 4, and he did not make it in tonight in that Auto Club race. So hopefully for tonight, things will change around as we get set for this 250 lap event. Points going to be displayed right in front of your screen. Nick Miller in the number 95 here for tonight. He leads with 207 over William Schmidt with 185, Liam Sheen with 174, Christopher Wilde with 171, and Malachi Drake rounding out the top 5 with 167.
Yeah, I'd like to note some big surprises in the point standings. Like you can see right there, David Bachman 11th in the point standings, and right behind him, Aaron Brown. So it's been a very hectic season, and I think a lot of it's just surviving the races to the end, because if you make any sort of mistake, it can drop you down 20, maybe even 30 spots.
Yeah, no, my probably biggest sleeper pick would have to be Malachi and Ryan Kendrick. They're 5th and 6th. You know, they're very good iSCAR regulars, and I'm actually surprised to see them that far up in the points.
Yep, that's right. We'll have to see on how this race will turn out to their favors once we complete 250 laps here tonight at Bristol. Well, it looks like we're waving the checkered flag under these practice conditions, so we're going to scoot ourselves to the side and play the national anthem. Rise out, River Hats, as we salute our nation's colors. We welcome everybody back here live for the Max Speed TV event here for the iSCAR RaceLabs Cup Series for this Redline Racing 250, currently under qualifying conditions as these drivers take their fastest two around the racetrack. This is going to be important to lock yourself in that top 35, because if you're in that LCQ position, you're going to have to race your way into that top 5.
Yeah, that was a smart move, in my opinion, from Mitch Hobbs there just now. You saw him go around, stop the car in time so he'd at least have an attempt at another lap. That was very smart to do, especially at a track like this one where you don't need to rely on getting enough speed up for a second lap because it is a short track. So, yeah, that's the type of decisions that can save your qualifying run, especially considering the cutthroat qualifying system that we have implemented recently.
Yeah, lots of people yet to set a lap here, so like, it's going to be interesting to see. We got cars maybe just under a second off pace, but yeah, a lot of cars, you know, good drivers, William Schmidt, Brody Garner, who have all yet to qualify, so we'll see where they end up.
Yeah, Mitch, I think it worked out for him because he only qualified a 10th off of the pole there, so that was a very smart move on his part.
See William Schmidt just sitting on the apron, as well as looks like Michael Bianchini, David Bachman, the 84 is also there as well, Zachary Thornton. Those are the 5 drivers who are yet to log in a qualifying lap, but looks like we've only have 37 drivers who have logged in at least 1 lap, so that is 1 less than expected, because again, the top 38 locks themselves into the night's field, but I expect toward the, here comes Parker White, you know, to set his first couple of laps, but we'll probably boot Matthew Klein to the 38th position at 095. He's come close to a couple of wins this season already. We'll see if we can pick it up here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate for Matthew Klein to be in the LCQ. He's not an unfamiliar face in there, but you know, sucks to see anyone make the LCQ. Missing the race is obviously not something you want to see, but you know, 5 spots is plenty enough, and especially with the lower than average car count today, I think he has a decent chance of making it. You know, he made it into Auto Club, nearly won that race.
Yeah, I'd like to also note that despite the low field count, I'm seeing a lot of people that don't run iSCAR a whole lot. Predominantly, I'm seeing Zachary Thornton. I think I saw Andrew Ramos. And then Cade McKee was also on the entry list. So we're seeing a lot of people that may be making some one-off starts here.
Yeah, you honestly see a lot of big fields at Bristol. Bristol, the famed short track here in NASCAR, as well as the last time we had a full field at Bristol was fairly recently. It happened in the Truck Series in the Chase. That was a hectic race from start to finish. Drivers literally all over each other as Bianchini logs himself in 38th position, now 32nd. So that'll put Aaron Brown as the last person in, and that will be it for qualifying, as Aaron Brown in the 151 is the last person in on speed. Brandon Sampson and all these other drivers right on this session. Looks like Paul Granada, Henry Clapper, Jeremiah Bethune, Matthew Klein, Brandon Lightis. All these drivers are going to have to, looks like, unfortunately, work themselves through this LCQ to make something happen.
Yeah, also I saw Mark Frimpong, who's usually an amazing short track driver, qualified 36th. So there's always a little bit of a surprise element that goes into these qualifying sessions.
Well, despite Mark's talent, Bristol is just such a different short track than any other short track we go to. It's brake heavy, but not nearly as much as any other track. It's very high banked. The driving style is almost completely different.
Yeah, that's right. I'd say you want to treat this more like a classic speedway and use the turns and find a lot of grip through the corners rather and push it on the straightaways. It's a really fast track. You're running about 130, 140 into the corners. I wouldn't say 140. That's really pushing it, but I'd say around 130-ish pushing into the corners. So all these drivers have to nail their marks, and especially on the entries of turn number 3.
Yeah, one thing about this track is that if you're trying to keep up front with the up pace with the car in front of you, it can make you screw up your line massively and just burn through your tire like it doesn't even exist, and it can really trip you out, especially at a track like this one where having that grip and tire percentage is very important.
7 cars gridded up here. Surprisingly, your pole sitter for the LCQ, Brandon Sampson, is yet to come on. Maybe he's just waiting, but that would be a tough break for him, kind of throwing it away. I would definitely grid up if I were him.
Yeah, usually a lot of drivers like to stay till last second to grid up, as Brandon now appears on the screen as I say that, but Brandon is going to lead this field to the green here for tonight's LCQ alongside Paul Granada in the number 04.
Henry Clapper and Jeremiah Bethune in the second row. Obviously, Jeremiah, one of the fan favorites, honestly. He's very popular around the garage.
Row 3 with some familiar and unfamiliar faces, maybe. Matthew Klein making another LCQ start. Let's see what he can do. I expect great things out of him, actually. This is the kind of track where I think that he can come through and avoid the wrecks. And Brandon W. Lightis in 7th place.
There's going to be a bit of an order shuffle because Hunter Ellis did not grid up, but we'll scroll through the field fairly quickly as we get set here for tonight's event.
Another thing I'd like to note, that front row, we have not seen in the feature, we have not seen a front row like that possibly ever. I believe that was Kevin Went Jr.'s highest ever qualifying spot, getting 2nd place. One of those drivers you don't really expect to be up there in the qualifying sessions.
Yeah, no, really impressive runs for him and for Joe Berge. Joe Berge snatching a pole, not something I expected from him. Let's see what he can do with it, honestly. I think with the track position, he'll be able to stay ahead of the wrecks, and we know he's strong when he stays ahead of the wrecks, so I'm expecting good things from him tonight.
Here we go. LCQ for the Bristol race will go green as the pace car scoots itself on in. Brandon Sampson, Paul Granada trying to secure themselves into tonight's top 5 for this race. Green flag is out. 10 laps to decide the top 5.
Sampson already blinking from the get-go, but he pulls away like there's nothing to lose as he pulls away massively from Paul Granada and Henry Clapper making some charges for that.
Yeah, no, cars singled out pretty quickly, a lot quicker than I expected, but, we see a lot of shuffling in toward the back. The battle for the transfer spot is starting to heat up here, because we just have one lap in.
2x2 into 1 for this 5th spot. It's the 05 of Jeremiah who washes up the racetrack. He's duking it out with the 32 of Andrew Ramos. 35 of Zachary Thornton trying to find himself around that 05, but looks like he's just sort of boxed in. It's really hard to carry a lot of momentum, especially around that middle side of the racetrack. It looks like that 35, he's going to switch down low, maybe try to peak himself and follow the 73.
Yeah, Andrew almost pulled away from those guys pretty massively. He must have had a pretty disastrous qualifying time. He's usually pretty fast at this track.
As we see Paul Granado starting to reel in your leader here, Brandon Sampson, just running a little bit lower in line than him. You know, I don't really know what to expect with these types of cars. I've never driven them at Bristol, but I don't know what to expect with lines here. But you see Paul Granado working that middle. Back here, all sorts of lines are working. Jeremiah holding on to that transfer spot on the high side.
There's about 4 cars still in the mix of this as, oh, a bit of contact there, 3 wide action, might turn the 05, and around goes the 05 of Jeremiah Bethune. He nails the inside barrier. There was a lot of contact being led up to that as Henry Clappert sort of scoots away in 5th place, or at least tries to. He is still under fire by the 35 of Zachary Thornton, will move himself down to the inside and try to gun for that spot, but man, that is very unfortunate for the 05, and you see the contact right there as looks like the Henry Clapper machine washed up the racetrack and got spun.
Yeah, that was very, very, in my opinion, on both moves from the 35 of Zachary Thornton's part there. Just hitting, just bodying every single car for that transfer spot.
Yeah, no, crazy racing all on the racetrack as we see the 96 has really pulled away as Paul Granado seems to be fading. Andrew Ramos trying to take advantage of him. Brandon Lightus has actually caught up to those 3. You saw he was battling with the others earlier, and now he's up here looking for 3rd.
Checkered flag is out as the race for this top 5 is already over. And for Henry Clapper and Matthew Klein and Jeremiah Bethune, unfortunate for them, they will not make it in tonight's main event, and that is very unfortunate for Jeremiah. I wish he got himself in, but that big wreck down the back straightaway eliminates him from competition here for the day. And we work ourselves into warm-up for tonight, 5 minutes for these drivers to, get some fine adjustments and tune it to the right steering ratios and such like that. For the 83 of Joe Berge, it's also some time to, get a feel of how the long run might be.
Long run speed, obviously, a very important factor of any race, but especially at this track, concrete surface. It does wear the tires out a little bit faster, obviously,
Yeah, you do expect a long run, but it's a matter of when it happens, because early in the race there are going to be a lot of wrecks, take out a lot of cars. It's just a matter of at what point are there enough cars taken out that we can go green.
And who are those drivers who are going to be taken out? Who are the ones who are going to survive for that final, I'd say, 100 laps for tonight's event? So, again, a key word for tonight's race, is, in my opinion, is going to be survival. So, I expect those drivers who qualified up to top 10 to probably be in a nice track position for this first beginning of the race. But once we start kicking in on long runs, that's when you'll see the fast drivers start to filter to the top.
Yeah, the top side looked to be the strongest line in the entire LCQ session there. You saw Brandon Sampson, who ended up winning the race, running it all race long, so it could be the best line, most likely.
And just one thing to note about your front row, Joe Berry and Kevin White, these guys you don't see qualifying far up usually, and I think there's a good reason for that. This is a very prestigious race on the schedule. $15 out to the winner because of Redline sponsorship with Cody Webster. It's just a race that people want to win. There's a lot of practice went in for these 2 drivers especially.
Yeah, that's right. For Joe Berge, that 83, hasn't had too great of a season, but here tonight he could turn it around. Of course, winning the pole is pretty impressive, especially at a track like this, where nailing the corners is what it's all about here at Bristol. So for the 83 Joe Berge, and with that whole entire field inside that top 5 for tonight, they're going to be probably the ones to watch here for the first for the first laps of tonight's race.
Yeah, Berge has had arguably the worst luck in the iSCAR garage his whole entire career, so it's nice to see him finally getting some good luck here as Lady Luck may finally be changing and turning onto his side. It'd be great to see him get an amazing run, top 5 finish, maybe even a win.
Yeah, I mean, for the first going to this race, you're going to see Berge, unless something screws up, he's going to be leading a lot of laps. I don't expect a very long green flag run. He's going to be racking up the laps led, and that's a very good thing for him because usually in the back he gets caught up in wrecks, and it's just a frustrating experience. So to be able to lead that much is probably a good pick-me-up for him.
Yeah, that's right. But we also got to mention a couple of notable names. That's 62 of Anthony Burrows has showed up here for tonight. That number 62 is now a Pro Series driver. So, of course, congratulations to that 62 for getting his pro license, and he'll be competing to get a Coca-Cola membership a Coca-Cola license for next year. But congratulations to that number 62. He's one of the faces I'm expecting to shuffle toward that top 5 once we see some long runs.
Yeah, Burrow would be the second driver to do it. Obviously, the first being Logan Clampett, who doesn't show up a lot anymore, but can you really blame him? I mean, he's a contender for wins in the Coke Series now, but it'd be amazing to see Burrows be the second person to do it.
Yeah, really impressive. A really impressive career, I guess you could say, for Burrows, and it's just exciting to see a pro driver out here tonight. You don't see it very often. You see it a couple times a season, especially with Logan Clampett, as Hunter said. But it is impressive to see what people can do on this sim, and just hope that he will be able to survive the early race carnage to be there at the end.
Practice finally winds itself down to the double zeros here for tonight. Scoot ourselves in for tonight's grid as we are going to log in 250 laps here for tonight's event. Before we do that, let's go over race analysis. Pit road speed 35 miles per hour, no stages speed ran for tonight. 6 tires that these drivers are going to have to strategize around and with. The fuel window is around 125, 130 laps, so these drivers are going to have to be required to pit at least twice for this evening. Congratulations to the number 83 of Joe Berge. He'll be starting up front alongside another surprising name of Kevin White Jr. in that 147.
Second row, we start to see a little bit more normalcy as Parker White will line up alongside William Schmidt, a great Bristol driver Schmidt is, so it'll be exciting to see how he can do.
In row 3, some very familiar faces, Austin Johnson and Christopher Weil. You expect Christopher to be really good here at Bristol, too.
Row number 4 going to consist of Cole Williams and that number 42, Ryan Kendrick in the double zero, right alongside of him.
Row 5, Caden Atkins in the newly reformed Peak Performance Motorsports, and Quentin Warman will start alongside.
In row 6, Mitch Hobbs and Nick Miller. I'm surprised to see Nick Miller qualifying back here. You know, he's a strong driver, and we'll see what he can do. Hopefully he can survive the wrecks because he's done a good job of it this season. He was up there and just won Auto Club last week.
Yeah, that's right. A recent winner here in the Cup Series. That number 95 is going to start himself in 12th. The rest of the orders going to be shown on your screen. Find your favorite driver, and hopefully they'll come out on top of the scoring pylon here for tonight. And looks like the number 27, Cade McKee, making a return here tonight. Of course, we mentioned number 62, Anthony Burrows, one of the pro drivers, will be competing for a Coca-Cola license next year. And Garrett Hessen, the 777.
See a lot of pretty notable names starting towards the back here. You saw Malachi Drake, I saw Josh Patterson just now, Michael Bianchini, Liam Sheen. So a lot of people are going to have to make their way up today. Mark Frimpong as well. So it's going to be fun to see how those guys compare.
Yeah, it's just the looming first lap wreck. I'm thinking there would be a first lap wreck. And wondering who's going to be involved, who's going to be killed from the very beginning. Some people are not going to come out with even a chance to contend.
Yeah, that's
Some
right.
Pit starters.
That's right. Max Jurek brings up a really, really good point. Last year, this race had a wreck before we even took the green, and it took out at least 7 contenders from the field, and we only had a 27-car field at Bristol last season. But here with a full 43 driver roster for tonight's 250 lap event, I'm pretty sure we're going to see double the chaos of what we saw last season, especially with the amount of drivers on the racetrack.
Yeah, you saw, if you looked in the pit road there, you could see a couple drivers just decide to skip it entirely and pit start. There, you see them right there. That might be a good call, but it will take a little bit for those drivers to get their laps back through Lucky Dogs, which is most likely how they're going to have to do it.
Yeah, notable pit starter, Michael Bianchini coming in from the pits. Hasn't worked out for him most of the time, but, you know, at Bristol, anything can happen. I really do expect it to work out better for him here than anywhere else.
All right, here we go. Joe Berge in that number 83. Kevin White Jr., Parker White, William Schmidt, Austin Johnson going to lead the field to the first laps of tonight's 250-lap event. Glad you could join us in here for this iSCAR RaceLabs Cup Series event, presented by Cody Webster, of course, with Redline Racing. Green flag here at Bristol. We're racing at the World's Coliseum. Oh, and around goes Berge!
All right, man, caution is out.
Oh,
Caution is
that's
out.
terrible. And it looks like he also forward immediately afterward, and that's going to bring up the first caution here.
I cannot believe that just happened. Very tough break for Joe Berge.
He's not going to be happy about that. His bad luck streak, unfortunately, continues here today.
Well, you mentioned it, Max. First lap wrecks, and happened right in front. It wasn't like what we saw last season, but for the 83 of Joe Berge, yikes.
Oh, it looked like he just spun the tires.
Yeah, Andy McDowell either no time to react or just didn't want to. Oh, no, that's not Andy McDowell. I'm dumb. That is Parker White. Yeah, just barely touched him as the 83 spun the tires. Really unfortunate situation. Obviously nowhere for Parker to go.
Saw a couple of pit starters get saved by that as well, so that might have been a really good call for some of those guys.
Yeah, of course we run the lower downforce package here at Bristol. I think 850 horsepower on short tracks. You guys could fill me in on that. I don't know what the specs behind on short track packages are, but it caught Joe Berge off guard and unfortunately spun around and brings out the first caution here for tonight. And even though Michael Bianchini started on pit road, he's already gotten lapped, as well as a couple of others, Mark Frimpong, Miles Nelson, and Zachary Thornton in the number 35 is now 3 laps down, so.
Odd to see no more cars than just Berge were involved with that. You know, you see cars rocket ship off the wall when they hit it like that and just plow right back into the field. Very lucky that no one else was involved.
Kevin White will benefit from that situation. His first career laps led an iSCAR. How about this for that 147 Toyota Camry? And also, very bad luck for Berge. I feel terrible for him knowing the stuff he's gone through these past couple weeks.
So we'll re-rack it up again on lap number 6 or 7. Kevin White Jr. in the 147 will lead his first ever laps in an iSCAR event.
I also would like to note that that was definitely an Alt F4 from the 83 of Berge there, so that makes me think he would have taken fault for it immediately. So it must have been a driver error of some sort.
I don't know if it really equates to his own driver error, but I would not be surprised. I'm not surprised that he Alt F4'd out of that. You know, very built-up raid from Berge, unfortunately. You know, he goes through the same thing every week. I'm not surprised he Alt F4'd. I don't think it just means because of driver fault.
This time. We are not going green.
It's like a lap has been added under yellow, so these drivers are gonna have to resituate themselves out for another lap. It seems as though there's just so many wave arounds, so the admins decided to let all these drivers around this area to catch up to the tail end of the field. And of course, see the pace car right there, right in the center of the backstretch, and the leader's not even on the back straightaway. There's just so many wave around cars since that caution came out at an awkward time. It sort of split the field up into two, but here we go. We'll go green coming next time by. So green on lap number 8 out of 250 for this one.
You saw that earlier in the week with the ARCA race in New Hampshire, where we had a lap 1 wreck, and a couple cars went a lap down because of it, and unfortunately we're not able to get their laps back for a good while.
Speaking of a good while, that does move Christopher Weil up 2 spots, as he will now move into 4th spot, so he's a lot closer to the lead than he was. Same for William Schmidt, who also moves into 2nd, so some good Bristol drivers now starting 1st and 2nd in that outside row.
Seems as though there was another lap added, so as soon as they crossed the start-finish line, they added another lap, so we'll go green on lap number 9 rather than 8. So a lengthy caution here to resort out the field, as now we get the 1-to-go signal this time by. There's already, looks like 5 lap cars, one of them David Bachman, another one Miles Nelson, as well as Michael Bianchini and Aaron Brown, or trying to let all these lead lap drivers by. I'm not sure if we're going to probably... Yeah, now we'll get another caution lap added, as they're still trying to resort it out.
Yeah, that's the sucky thing about those first lap crashes at tracks like these, because the game just doesn't know what to do. It just fries itself, and it keeps adding laps, it keeps waving around cars. It's a mess usually.
Yeah, issues with the caution system are unfortunately no stranger to iSCAR, but you know, you just got to do what you do. Kalo Hankins obviously doing the best that he can. You got to love him for it. He is really working on the spot here, and you know, doing the best he can.
Now, of course, for that 147 of Kevin White Jr., he doesn't run this league toward the front a lot, usually around 10th or 15th place, but that 147 going to lead his first laps under green here tonight at Bristol. The pace car will scoot itself down the pit road. William Schmidt in that number 79, Parker White in the 095 trying to find and work themselves around that 147. The pace car finally scoots itself down the pit road. We're back up and away at Bristol, and hopefully we'll log in a green flag lap.
A lot of cars single file before we got green there with all those wave around, so that definitely helped our chances of that, as Kevin White surprisingly has a car length or 2 lead.
Yeah, it looks like the 195 tried to reel him in, couldn't quite get it on because the 79 car on his outside. Maybe the 79 could be looking at him. Very good side-by-side racing here, as Kevin White looking to just hold on to that couple car length lead. Good for him.
Williams shoving his nose to the outside of White, but looks like he'll now get clear into turns number 1 and 2. White actually slapped the outside wall, but will keep himself forward. Christopher Weil is going nowhere on that bottom side, and he's holding up the 31 of Austin Johnson in the process. And back into 3rd, looks like William Schmidt does.
Parker White, as he got clear of that, just kicked it into maximum overdrive, as he is reeling in that 147 very fast.
Yeah, lots of good racing right behind them. They've started to separate themselves just a little bit. You see 4th on back, all in that 2nd range. And Parker and Kevin White, the 2 white guys, have pulled away from the rest of the field.
I can't believe you said that.
No,
But, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. They're pulling themselves in the field, as they're actually going to have to battle here around these couple of lap cars. But here we go, side by side for the lead, as the 2 whites going to dot side by side in 3 and 4 for Parker White and Kevin White Jr.
Well, some great battling for the lead. It looks like wall tapping might be the strategy on that 095 as he catches up to that 84 of David Bachman.
Oh, Bachman spins! Oh, and he collects Weil in the process! Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness. I was about to mention those Red Bull cars, but they have brought out 2 cautions today. Obviously, Bergie the 1st and now Bachman the 2nd. Oh no, that's tough luck for Christopher Weil. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, Caden Atkins going around as well. You know, it is something I mentioned in pre-race, cars that are going to be victims, you know, with Christopher Weil missing his front end, cars that are going to be victims of wrecks. In the beginning of this race, you expected Weil to run really strong tonight, and a lot of damage from the 84 Bachman.
Yeah, Bachman, I think he got loose on the center of the corner, just trying to let Parker White by, oh, actually, he was already dead sideways, washing up the racetrack, and of course the 41 of Christopher Well, nowhere to go, and that sucks because he's gonna have a lot of damage. Well, of course it sucks because he's gonna have a lot of damage, but it sucks very early for that 41 to receive this damage at. He's gonna get lapped probably multiple times under green, since he won't have the speed. And you see right there, Caden Atkins in the 56 made a bit of contact with, I'm not sure who that is. That looks like to be the 95.
Nick Miller. Yeah, Miller got very lucky. He got next to no damage in that heat. In any normal scenario, he probably would have gotten a lot of race-ending damage there.
Yeah, another car you saw just before that wreck, Ryan Kendrick was just barely sideways. Luckily, he was able to keep it going, and he was on the high side, so missed that wreck.
Another thing to note is, especially at tracks like Bristol, sometimes if you're getting caught up to by the leaders, you jerk the wheel in anticipation to have to move out of the way in the corner, and at a track like this, it just bites you and you spin around. I think that's what happened to Bachman there.
1 out of 3 for David Bachman, as he will go to the back for that. But, you know, it's Bristol. It's what you see here. Was not expecting to see it from a lap car, but, you know, it's what happens.
I mean, I expect a lot of more lap traffic chaos to be handed out like that, because there's still so many drivers on track right now. By the looks of it, only 2 people eliminated from tonight's event, Joe Berge and Zachary Thornton, who didn't even start. So, Bianchini's trapped on that down. The wave around probably might have went to, I'm not really sure who it went to, because I'm not really paying attention to it, but in the meantime of that, that'll put now 37 drivers on this lead lap.
Cole Williams got it, I believe, in that number 42 EO Medium Racing Toyota camp.
Looks like Nick Miller's still on pit road repairing damages. I know Hunter said he didn't get very much, but it looks like he is getting lapped, just taking those repairs. So we'll see if he can mount up a comeback. You expect it from Nick Miller. He's a fast driver, but we'll see how long that takes.
All right, here we go for the restart. Parker White's going to elect the high side. It's I don't know which car's in the lead.
I believe Kevin is still.
Looks like he's laying back the restart just a bit. Parker White's sort of nosing forward.
Green
flag is out. Looks like Parker White is the leader. He elected the high side for the restart, which is something you usually see here at Bristol. The high side is pretty much king around this racetrack, unless you can make a dive bomb coming into the corner. So for Parker White in that 095, he nailed those lines out right on the restart, and he's pulling away already.
Yeah, he had a lot of speed as soon as he got by that second place battle on that first run, and you saw him just catch up to that 147 of Kevin White, as looks like Ryan Kendrick with that rear end.
Yeah, the term controlled chaos comes up at Bristol a lot, and you can just see it from the green flag racing. It's just incredible to watch. This track is really like no other.
Schmidt finally finds a hole in line right behind the 31 of Austin Johnson. Will be joined in by the 89 of Mitch Hobbs, and the man who spun earlier looks like Caden Atkins, but it looks like we have there's a 4-car battle around this area. It's the 62 of Anthony Burrows, who's trying to work himself to the low side. A bit of a jam up right at their high side, and around goes Webster! Oh, he'll slide up into the pack. No, looks like he'll keep it down to the low side.
Somehow nobody hit him. Caution's out.
Very, very narrow misses for multiple cars to just squeak by from Cody Webster. Very, very, well, lucky break, you could say, but he did get wrecked, so.
I saw him and the 14 of Kenner going at it right before the wreck. That's what happened again. No, that looks like Webster's fault, judging by that angle.
Get another look at it. Kenner... it seems as though Kenner was lower than what Webster was anticipating. Webster was trying to out-track the corner, and unfortunately, Kenner was there, and around Webster went, but that honestly does not look like a lot of damage, even though that 9 did nail the inside barrier. For that 9, he got lucky.
Yeah, we
is something
saw
that's very hard to judge here at Bristol. I mean, a lot of what happens at Bristol can be put down to racing. Very, very tight track. Very, very fast racing considering the size of it. So, I mean, cars get together here a lot more than at any other track. So it's hard to put blame for many wrecks here as compared to other tracks.
That reminds me of that wreck we saw last night in the Chicagoland Truck Series race where I don't know who it was, but we had two cars coming off of turn number 2, and they made contact because one was riding about a lane lower than what the other car expected, and they just came up, and they ended up in the inside wall. That's another thing about this track, too, is that the inside wall is very close to the racing surface, and you can hit it very easily.
Parker White. Oh, you go ahead.
Something you see at tracks like Dover too. It is really dangerous because you saw Joe Berge wreck on the start. That inside wall can be a killer, as we mentioned earlier. Very lucky that Berge did not bounce back up into the field there.
Mitch Hobbs intentionally dropping himself back there on the backstretch. I wonder if he got a penalty or if he just elected to go to the back. Nah, he's coming back. Must have been adjusted something.
One of the new features here at Bristol Motor Speedway is that blue line you saw Mitch ride along. Back when iRacing scanned this racetrack, you would have to use two separate pit roads rather than treating the whole entire apron of turn number 3 as one pit road. But this is the first pit road, entrance of course starting in turn number 2. The exit of pit road is off into turn number 1. So this whole pit road wraps around, but in the previous version of iRacing, I mean, before they came out with the two pit road system, I mean, before they came out with a one pit road system, it was logged in as 2 pit roads, and that really confused a lot of drivers and such like that on where you're gridded out and such, and it made a lot of things a big mess. But luckily now, everybody just has to use just both pit roads. That's what they do in NASCAR in real life, that's all.
Yeah, sometimes what'll happen is you'll go into a zone-out kind of zombie mode here at Bristol. You won't really know exactly what's going on, what straightaway you're on, and sometimes you'll just completely miss your pit road in real life, but obviously that system's kind of saved that from happening.
Gotta go green here.
Yep, here we go. Pace car will scoot itself on a pit road. Parker White yet again going to elect the high side for the restart. Will nail the throttle down, and up and away he goes. White Jr. is going to be following in pursuit in that 147. Will slot himself into line as they're side by side for this third spot. Move Quentin Warman in that 94 into the top 3.
Yeah, Quentin Warman, actually, I think he started like 12th or 13th. He's already up here in top 3. Really good run for him so far. I was not expecting him to be this far up this quick. He is a name that we really didn't see in the beginning stages of this race.
Yeah, that Skittles zombie Toyota looks very fast. The real-life driver, that Penske Kyle Busch, also very fast, too. And it's showing for that number 94.
Side by side, right behind, and William Schmidt and Austin Johnson going to duke it out as we have another caution toward the rear of the field. Looks like toward turn number 1 and 2, probably.
Cody Webster.
Cole Williams as well. Unless he was just damaged in another crash. Oh, no, it had to have been him.
Oh, looks like Bianchini caught the barrier off of turn number 4, and Webster gets involved in his second wreck of the night. But yet again, not a lot of damage on that number 9, surprisingly. But unfortunately for him, he's going to rack up a lot of incident points. And that 9's going to have to play his cards out right. But he was not. It looks like he was just a victim of circumstance right there. And for Webster, his luck is just not working out right now. And that 48 of Michael Bianchini, unfortunately, looks like 3 laps down. And as I said, he tagged the outside wall, and into the 9 he won.
I don't know why that took away the number 42 of Cole Williams' front end there. He barely hit that crash, and it just went. But obviously, Cody Webster had to have been a little bit killed. He was getting pulled away by Christopher Weil, who was missing an entire front end.
Yeah, another caution tonight here. Really hasn't shuffled up the order up front here as much as I thought it would. but you still see the same names, Kevin White and Parker White, still your leaders. I think we could see even Quentin Warman make a charge on one of those positions in this next restart.
Yeah, look where Quentin started. He started all the way back in 10th place. Has now worked himself into 3rd. So that 94 looks like he seems to be a short-run machine. He's worked himself into 3rd place. Just a matter of how this restart will go. He's going to have to start himself all the way to the inside. So William Schmidt in that number 79 is going to have a chance to get around that number 94. And you mentioned it, how a lot of positions inside this top 10 hasn't really changed a lot. Of course, you have to put in a couple of variables into that. The cautions that are coming out, and the way the track just races. In my opinion, this with this tire model and the surface not really being rubbered down, track is just about as single groove as it's gonna get for right now. So for right now, until the track starts getting rubbered up, I expect a lot of people to be hugging that second lane and pinching down if a driver tries to drive them low, or maybe some drivers might accidentally make a mistake and check the outside barrier.
Yeah, people think that this new way of racing at Bristol sucks. I disagree. I think it was kind of boring to watch all the people on the low side every single race in real life. And I'm kind of glad that the high side started rubbering in real life and just being very good on the long runs especially. It's great to see the action in the 3rd and 2nd grooves as they all try to scramble for spots, especially on the restarts.
Looks like we are doubling up. I think we are going to have the 1 to green here. Same front row, Kevin and Parker White. Behind them is William Schmidt. Back up into the top 5 with Quentin Warman, and 3rd row, Austin Johnson and Caden Atkins.
I mean, not 100, 211 laps to go once they hit the green flag. Pace car scoots itself down the pit road. Parker White elects the high side yet again for the restart. I'll pull himself away from the 147 as we go back up and away. Through the gears we go. They're side by side for that 2nd position, but looks like White gets the entrance in the 1 like he needs to. Looks like he might have gotten tight right up off the corner. William gets boxed in as here comes Warman, and that 94, he works himself down to the bottom side.
Caden Atkins as well. He spun on that set of tires. We saw him involved in that 2nd wreck as he's working on Quentin Warman now, so obviously it must not hurt him that much.
All over the back end of Mitch Hobbs is the number 20 of Andy McDowell. He is just itching to get up there. As
Burrows! Cannot believe nobody spun.
Who was that 69?
Frank DeAngelis.
Cannot believe nobody got involved in that, but that in turn has sort of fanned out the pack just a bit, so these drivers are going to have a bit of real estate. And unfortunately for Anthony Burrows in that 62, has a bit of damage, but now a caution comes out. This one, not really sure where it was.
Somebody with no front end, unless that's Williams.
Looks
again.
like Zachary Thornton.
He must come back out then. Oh yeah, he came back out. He's 28 laps down instead of the 43 that Berge is. Looks like he just self-spun.
Hard hit for that 35. I'm surprised he hit the inside wall that hard. It looks like he didn't even hold his brakes.
You can see that analog input on that 35 is either a controller or a keyboard for sure.
He was also blinking in the process. I'm not really sure if he tried to come down while he was blinking and he couldn't really see the 41, or vice versa. The 41 couldn't see the 35. They got into each other, and looks like for Zachary Thornton, that number 95, I mean that 35 is going to be toast and probably done for here for tonight's race.
Yeah, this is a bad track to have a analog input for. Obviously, you could see the steering wheel was very jagged on that number 35. It's not a good track to use a controller or a keyboard at for sure, and I think he learned his lesson about that one.
Another caution here at Bristol, and wow, I can't believe we haven't seen any big wrecks yet. You know, we saw the big one with the moderately sized wreck with Bachman and the leaders, but other than that, have a lot of single, maybe 2-car wrecks. Really not as much carnage as I was expecting for the amount of cautions we had.
Looks like rookie Miles Nelson is also retired from the event, which does suck for that number 11. Hopefully, we can see him in some more iSCAR races, see if he can pull something off.
Yeah, well, so we'll go green. I'm probably working ourselves in the lap 50, but as Max mentioned, not a lot of position changes. We'll pull up the position gain panel here on the left side to see on where these drivers have shuffled from the start of tonight's race. Parker White up 2. Kevin White has, looks like, stayed where he started. William Schmidt up 1. Caden Atkins in that 56 up 5, as well as the 94 Quentin Warman. He was up to 3rd at one time, but now has dropped back to the 5th because of that restart. And 31 of Austin Johnson down 1. The 89 of Mitch Hobbs up looks like 4. The 20 of Andy McDowell, he's up 7, as well as the 14 of Kenner. And rounding out the top 10 is the 00 of Ryan Kendrick, who has a bit of rear end damage, but he's down 2, unfortunately.
And you're only going to see these numbers grow as, you know, 5-10 lap differences in starting positions only going to grow. You're going to see more cars spread out, more cars wreck. You know, by the end of the race, you see cars up there that have gained like 20 or 30 positions.
Also, Blaze Crawford and Sartaj Vaughn, your biggest movers of the race, both up 10 spots from 24th and 26th, respectively.
Alright, here we go. We're going to hit the restart this time by pace car. Going to suit itself down to the pit road. Parker White in the 095 has led just about every single lap from the time he's taken the top spot. We'll work up and away yet again on lap number 49 out of 250. Just about, I wouldn't say a quarter of the way through the race. We're still a long ways away from this finish as Parker White pulls ahead by a car length over Kevin White Jr.
Yeah, this race does look long, but it's actually fairly short once you account how fast the laps are and how short the track is.
Yeah, even with the relatively short runs we've had here without in between the cautions, you know, you still see them racking up more laps than you would expect at other tracks. You know, you see 5 or 6 or 7 lap runs.
Oh, got a big wreck in turn number 4.
Michael Stubbs.
Lots of cars keeping it straight somehow.
Webster again. Having a rough. Oh, big.
Not really sure where that all got started. Looks like maybe around the... No, in front of the 7 at Bayer. First one spun around. Looks like to be the 15. Michael Stubbs looks like was also in it as well. It seems as though a bit of a jam up. Oh, I'm not really sure if one car tagged the outside wall and they started stacking up.
Oh,
hard break. Looks like a very hard break from someone. You know, you see, oh my gosh, massive stack up, nowhere for Stubbs to go.
I think Cade McKee must have gotten loose off the corner. You saw him tracking it, and then Hess ran into him. Oh, Sartaj did. And then that 82 had to check up, and then it was just a chain reaction. Josh Patterson getting into the back of Michael Stubbs, and that started that whole thing.
Mark Frimpong into the 53 actually worked himself on a pit road just to go around that. You go ahead, Max.
Once again, I can't believe how many cars weren't involved with that. You know, that covered pretty much the entire track at one point there, and you only saw like 4 or 5 cars involved.
Yeah, I'm fairly surprised about that. A lot of drivers keeping it safe. I think they're taking in the keyword of survival here for tonight, but we've yet to cross halfway around that 125 lap mark, so I'm not sure on once we cross halfway that most of the drivers are going to be in for the end. On the meanwhile of that, Parker White still on the racetrack and still in the lead.
Yeah, Caden Atkins up to 3rd place. It's been a very, very good run for that number 56 team so far. Started in 9th position, up 6 spots from where he started. Always good to see. Obviously, may not have the fastest car around, but he is being one of the safest so far, moving his way up very slow and diligently.
I've noticed up front, Quentin Warman has been running the bottom more than anyone else. He's actually lost a couple spots. There's big trains on the outside here in these last few runs. We're going to hopefully see a change in racing here later, but for now, that highest side is pretty overpowered.
Yeah, and that just brings up another keyword: restarts. And for the 095 of Parker White, he's been selecting the highest side every time. And it gives him a good launch as well as a good look into turn number 1 and 2. But once he gets that car up to speed, he has nobody to really challenge him for that top spot, because he's pulled ahead of that 147 so much, and that top side is so key on restarts as well. If you're stacked up double wide, of course the outside line is eventually gonna get stacked up and pull from that bottom side. So being on the bottom is definitely not the place where you want to be on restarts.
Yeah, it just seems to have a slingshot effect coming out of turn number 2. You're just able to pull away, and if you're one of those cars on the inside, you just gotta somehow manage to slide job the car next to you, so that way you don't lose too many spots.
It is just Bristol racing. You see, especially on the restarts, you see that high line just prevail, and the bottom line is left playing catch up. So it's very important to slot yourself in here, especially as we start getting into the longer runs.
Pace car shoots down on a pit road. Green flag is out. Parker White in the 095 will hit the go pedal. And the number 79 of William Schmidt looks like he got a better restart than what I thought he did, but looks like White will fill that gap in front of that number 79. They jam up just for momentarily. And McDowell will go around off of 4. He'll keep it straight. No, never mind that. They're going to pile up on the front straightaway. And there you go. There's your big wreck of the day. As looks like at least 4 or 5 cars pile in coming into turn number 1. And looks like Sampson's also in it.
Sampson, your LCQ winner, no longer in the race today, it looks like. As Andy McDowell just started. I believe he got some help before that. I don't know, though. Yeah, definitely Mitch Hobbs in that 89. Go bowling Ford got into him. It looked like that just sent his car around. Hit a couple others. That 82, I don't know who's in that car, but he went around for a wild ride. And obviously Brandon Sampson as well.
Unfortunately, with McDowell blinking, it is hard to see the full effect of what happened, but all I know is to take out quite a few cars.
Yeah, as soon as the 20 got turned, I don't know if blinking played a huge factor into that. And you see the big hits right there. I think that was Malachi Drake that Brandon flung up on. I forgot who I'm not really sure who the other car was off of that exchange.
It's Brandon Moore was in that number 82. Yeah, and then that also involved Casey Drake, it looked like, who spun off the surface as well in the background.
Something I've been restating all night, but it is incredible how that was not a parking lot. You know, you saw 3 or 4 or 5 cars involved. With a wreck like that, at that position, Andy was running like 8th or 9th. I would expect a massive, massive pileup. You still saw a pileup, but nothing compared to what could have happened.
Poor 82 of Warwas has had a terrible day so far. He's just gone around. He's been everybody's punching bag. Similar to, ironically, Brandon Sampson last night, who also got a very major into a very major wreck today, and will unfortunately be out as well.
Alright, so we'll re-rack it up, and we're already working on our 7th caution of the night. Here on lap number 61. Luckily on short tracks, cautions go by fairly quickly. It's not like on a 1.5 miler in which you're going to have to snooze for at least 5, 6, 7 minutes until it goes back green. So we'll go back green here momentarily. And nobody inside this top 16 have hit pit road yet. Oh, actually, never mind of that. The number 89 of Mitch Hobbs actually pit, looks like 25 laps ago. So that 89 has sort of cut himself through the field. I'm not sure if he's going to get an EOL penalty because he got into Andy in the 20. Not really much Mitch could do because the 20 was blinking, but For Mitch Hobbs in that number 89, he's worked himself into, looks like 5th place, and yeah, actually, it might have just been a, no, he stayed himself out, actually. What actually happened, he might have clipped the exit of pit road, because I see nothing on the pit stop time, and his pit lane time is a .02, so never mind of what I just said. So everybody's still on the same set of tires as of right now, but Mitch looks like just got scored on pit road just for the moment.
It does make you wonder, though, what kind of advantage could fresher tires have in runs like this, where you only get a couple lap long runs? Like, could it really make that much of a difference in coming up through the field?
A lot of these wrecks also being caused by checkups, so I'd have to assume that was called a racing incident.
Yep, that is right. Pace car was good down on the pit road. Parker White yet again electing the high side for the restart. We'll see if Caden Atkins, number 56, gets a good one. Looks like he doesn't, but he does work himself on the high side of that 147. We'll see who gets the bite coming into turns number 1 and 2. Looks like White got a better run right up off the corner as Burrows is dead sideways on the bottom side. Williams going to slot himself into 4th, but up front, it's all Parker White in the 095.
Yeah, a lot of cars really trying to slot into the high side here. As we said, the high side is really, really strong. You saw almost immediately everyone's trying to scramble just to get there.
Obviously, Parker White, that 095 Media Racing Camry has just been the class of the field all day long. Manages to just pull away, keep his car clean, get those great restarts, and it really hasn't been much of a challenge for the lead since he got there.
I don't expect much of a challenge anytime soon. We'll see what changes in the long run when we get there, but for now, Parker White is a class up on the field.
Side by side, looking 3 wide as Sertage tries to cross over the 404 to the inside hole. Fend it out and try to slide job that high side. Looks like it's not going to work. Sertage had to really check up right up off the corner, but since these drivers are just about stuck side by side every lap, this is allowing those drivers right in front of them to just pull away. So it's just about a hornet's nest back here as one car nails the high side. That's the 777 and Garrett Hess will lose at least 1 spot, but they're now starting to get singled, starting to get into a pace right up against the safer barrier.
Obviously, Blaze Crawford just looking for any room to hop into the high side. He finally gets it done, but he lost a couple spots trying to get a slide job on that 09 of Colton Zimmer. I understand the audacity of it, but that did probably burn his tires up a little bit more than everybody else trying to send it into the corner like that, and ended up not working out for him as Caden Atkins goes under the 147 here, guys.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the battle for second really starting to heat up. I don't know if the 147 may be holding up Caden or anything, but really, as they're all bunched up for second, I really do think if we could see someone get that second position, maybe chase down the leader.
Caden, he tried the bottom, but looks like it's just not working to his advantage. He's now getting swallowed in by William Schmidt in that number 75, and now Mitch Hobbs also looking in for position. Slide job right up off the corner. And looks like the 56 will retain 4th, or at least try to. Mitch is on the wall, and looks like he's going to lose a position to, looks like 31 of Ryan Kendrick. He's still getting walled.
Oh no, Burrow's almost around. How do you save that car? He does it again somehow. What car control from the 62 Anthony Burrows here?
Mitch and Caden both really sent it in that corner. Obviously, Mitch getting the wall, and with no help from the 56 there.
And that just shows you the talent with these pro drivers. That 62 kept it straight somehow, and he's still retaining a top 10 spot, but unfortunately a bit of damage is going to halter him for the long run. But it looks like he's getting swallowed in by Frank DeAngelis in that number 69 as well. But for Anthony Burrows and that 62 team, they're doing it nicely as of right now as they battle right in front of them. Mitch Hobbs and Ryan Kendrick going to go at it.
Amazing job by Kevin White so far to somehow hold all of these people off. I don't know how he's doing it, especially because it looks like he doesn't have the long run pace exactly there as everybody just catches up to him eventually, but he's able to hold them off, and that's one of the tactics you need defensive driving here at Bristol.
Yeah, I'm just amazed by how much of a gap that Parker White has put on the field. You see 10th place, 3 seconds back. It's something you don't see, especially this early into a run at Bristol.
Look around this 404, Blaze Crawford. That 404 is getting swamped in by all these drivers, or trying to, as the 14 of Michael Kenner wanted to take it 3 wide around this. Oh, so close right up off the corner as now Sertage in the 49 gets around the 404, but they are lined up nose to tail for this position, and nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's that tire where we were talking about pre-race. We saw him trying to make those slide jumps, Blaze Crawford, getting all those positions moved up in the double digits in spots gained, but it ended up biting him in the butt as he ends up losing spots, it looks like, as Caden Atkins hits the wall and gets past for, I believe that's the 4th spot.
And you know, you saw that earlier, the 404, Blaze Crawford, he has done a pretty damn good job at defending his position, even if the speed isn't quite there. He's done a lot of risky moves, but he's been able to hold on as very well as he can.
Oh, they're so close right up off the corner. They were looking 3 wide as the 87 to Casey Drake was trying to shove his nose at the outside of the 02, Liam Sheen, but you see how much Blaze is slow on that high side, and all these drivers right behind are just hungry to grasp for that position, but Blaze is doing a nice job of defending it for right now, though. But for all the drivers right behind, it's just so frustrating getting trapped behind a slower car, especially at a track like Bristol. As, whoa, a bit of a checkup there on the inside. That's Josh Patterson and a couple of others. They slide themselves to the apron.
Oh, no.
The 32 somehow keeps it straight. That was Andrew Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos just got shafted there. Nowhere to go. That 15 of Patterson was way too slow for the low side to go anywhere, and they just all stacked up, and it culminated on the front stretches. Almost everybody went out.
As the battle for second here continues, Schmidt has just been on the tail of that 147. Is maybe very, very close to the wall, a lot closer to the wall than the 147 has been.
That might be that wall tapping strategy they were using in the practice session coming into effect there, like Eldora trucks. Obviously, they tapped the wall heading into the corner and exiting them. Maybe that could be a tactic here at Bristol.
Parker White, in the meantime, has checked out into a new zip code, but he'll encounter a couple of lap cars as he works around the 84 of David Bachman, the 82 of Brendan Warwas, as well as the 04 Paul Granada. This is huge for this 095 to work himself through all these lap cars. You don't want to get yourself into too much trouble working around it.
Yeah, those lap cars can play a massive effect on your lead. As you see, it's shrunken down by tenths as Austin Johnson finally gets around that 147 of Kevin White Jr. and sets his sights on the lead, but he'll have to get through these lap cars first.
Yeah, as soon as the 147 fell out of that high line, you see cars now starting to blow by him. Shows you the power of the high side here.
Yeah, that's right. They all got aligned around that 147. Burrows is trying to follow in through. Might take it 3 wide through the corner. Oh, we got boxed in by the looks of it. So Burrows is going to have to slot himself behind the 00 of Ryan Kendrick. On the meanwhile of that, look at all these more lap cars playing into effect. Looks like the 404 of Paul Granada. Huge block right there on the 31. Couldn't really get out of the way. Bachman now works himself down the low side, but looks like Paul wants to hole up the high side, and this is going to jam up everybody from third on back. William Schmidt in that number 79 has a bit of history with that 404, and he'll boot him up the racetrack to get him out of the way. And look at all these cars right behind, just sort of playing this way like a moving chicane.
It's
Granada needs
insane to watch the lap cars finally start to come into effect with this green flag run. You've mentioned it earlier, Zeke. This is the most exciting thing we've seen in quite a while on this run. Very impressive to see these drivers weave their way around the lap cars.
Yeah, that basically screwed Austin Johnson over. He loses 1.2 seconds of the exchange. I don't know how fast he'll be able to catch that 095 Parker White, but it might be too much for this green flag run here. They might have to wait until they get on new tires to be able to do anything.
Now that in turn has really regrouped this whole line back together, and it seems as though the number 79 William Schmidt seems to be a bit slower than the rest of these guys in this group as of right now, and they're all lined up nose to tail, and that could lead up to a lot of stack ups here at Bristol. If one car doesn't hit his corner right, the whole entire line will check up as a caution does finally come out, and looks like this will be around the number 9 of Cody Webster again for the 3rd time. And that was our longest green flag run of the night, and looks like, unfortunately for Webster, he's missing a front end.
Yeah, there's only so much you can take before the car just gives up on itself, and I think that was finally the culminating point for him. As looks like he hit Liam Sheehan, and yeah, he just came back up. That was definitely on the 9, I'd say.
Reminiscent of what his previous wreck was, he sort of hit the same mark on where he hit the wall earlier and spun exactly where he stopped.
A lot of aggression coming out of that 9 car. You see, it brings him a lot of wins. You know, he's won very, very many races. He's run like 3 races, especially in the ARCA series. But it also can unfortunately lead to incidents like this, where you run into too many people and things don't go your way.
I don't know if you guys have seen that clip of the guy in, I believe, that 2002 race at this track. Ken Alexander just got bullied at this place by just about everyone. Kept spinning out because of it. And that seems to be what's happening to this Nina Webster, not having a good night here.
Here we go. Everybody will follow in the 095 onto pit road. Of course, half of the field will hit pit road on the back straightaway into their stop and into their stall, excuse me, and the other half will hit it on the front straightaway. By the looks of it, nobody takes the gamble to stay out on the racetrack, so all these drivers on pit road are will probably come out on the position they just came in, or around there, hopefully. You see Parker White on in, and this is also the time in which you could take in a lot of optional damage, as well as get a bit of adjustments. As looks like Parker White, 4 tires and fuel for his machine. In and out he goes alongside Austin Johnson. Got a couple of drivers who did miss pit road. You see the zeros right next to Christopher Weil and Andrew Ramos's name. So by the looks of it, they accidentally hit pit. They accidentally either missed pit road or didn't stop.
Yeah, you see a lot of cars coming around to get some laps back. Even though they are on newer tires than their lead lap counterparts, due to you know, most lap cars obviously either being in wrecks, you know, coming down taking tires later in the race than our guys who have just come down. But you still wonder, they are not going to gain any speed off of not having tires. They might be even more in the way in this next run.
Yeah, another thing to note, we have just gotten into the triple digits on the lap counter, 101 out of 250. That only leaves 150 laps of racing here, and that has to change up the strategies a little bit, especially if we start getting some cautions and question if a pit stop really gets needed or not.
They've definitely used up one of their sets right now, so take the 1 to go signal this time by. Parker White in the 095 will retain his top spot. But now we got a new face into second place, and for Austin Johnson at that 31, since he's now regrouped with his with that leader, gives him a chance to gun for that top spot. So we'll have to see on how Austin Johnson will be for this restart alongside the 095. But looks like White does elect the high side for this one, as the pace car will scoot itself onto pit road, and back through the gears they go yet again. And never minded that, yeah, just go ahead and wipe that down the drain, as we're going to have another lap added, as looks like in-race call to add another lap, as there's still a lot of people all over the place toward the back. But
tough break for Parker White. You know, that caution was obviously not in his favor. He had gapped the field by just about 4 seconds before that caution came out. I do think he will be able to regain a good chunk of that, but we'll see how the racing goes here with Austin Johnson. Not what Parker White wanted to see.
Yeah, Johnson being up here has to hamper that strategy of that 095 a little bit, as obviously Austin Johnson, we know he has pace just about everywhere we go. Should be interesting to see if he can get there.
That's right, and this restart's going to be key for that number 31 as he pushes up the 095 right up against the safer barrier, but looks like White will hit the throttle and pull away by a car length, and looks like Johnson will scoot himself down to fill in the gap of where the 56 left out. They go side by side for just 4th place, though, as Austin Johnson and Parker White attempt to pull away from this top 3.
It's a scramble to get to the high side in the back here. As we see multiple cars running down low, you see Anthony Burrows actually trying to make it work. He goes 3 wide with Ryan Kendrick. Anthony Burrows maybe one of the cars really amazing enough to make this bottom line work. Oh, he gets really sideways.
Oh!
He saved it!
What a save! What was that? What?
That was incredible.
3 saves on the night that I can count for 62 Anthony Burrows. And if you made Coke based
my
off of the
goodness.
saves you can make, he'd definitely be there by now with those. But anyway, that might have been a strategic call on Austin Johnson's part to lay back on the restart to try to hop into the high side before we got into turn 1, so he had no opportunity to get passed by Caden Atkins there.
I cannot believe the 62 kept that straight. He fell all the way back to 16th, though, and he's still getting passed by multiple drivers, but what a wheel man by that number 62 of Burrows. He's been all over the place already. Started himself all the way back in 19th. Didn't have a good qualifying effort. Hence why he's sort of been around here, and of course that damage has sort of halted him by the moment. But man, that's unbelievable. I have no words.
Cars running as high as they dare up here front. You see nearly in the wall is everyone. I've never seen people run this high this consistently. I would not be able to do it for sure.
Lapper of Paul Granada, I do not agree with him running the high side. Can I just say, guys, how slow his car seems to be, either off of engine speed or aero speed, it's just not all there, and I don't think it's safe for him to be up there on the top side.
Only so many positions a lap car can take. So we see David Bachman electing to clip the apron. He clipped the apron there. Oh, nearly comes up into the 31, but he is able to keep it down there. Bachman has, every single time he's been lapped, it seems like he runs the bottom, maybe clips the apron a little bit, which is not a good sign for him, but he has kept it clean since that first lap wreck. Or not first lap wreck, but first wreck, so maybe he knows something we don't.
I mean, it's better than running the high side, like the 04 Paul Granada. You got to respect the leaders as well, and what positions they're running in. And of course, the rest of the battle is out on the racetrack. So for a lap car, I suggest to stay down low and out of harm's way.
Yeah, especially at a track like Bristol, where it is kind of just one groove that you know the leaders are going to take. And especially if we're 115 laps in and you still don't know that, then that's a bad thing, especially if you're that off pace. Looks like Johnson's reeling him in a little bit here.
Yeah, you see that?
Go ahead.
You see major gaps here in the whole field, but 4/10 looks a lot bigger here than it does at other tracks. So we'll see. Austin Johnson, very much holding on to that spot. Hopefully he doesn't lose the leader here.
He's right up against the safer barrier. What Parker White is doing, he's sort of diamonding the corner. Rather than entering up on the high side, he sort of pushes the car down one lane so the car could drift up right up against the safer barrier in time not to hit it. And after that, he sort of drives it to the bottom side to get a nice run, especially in turn number 4 where he's just about in the middle of the racetrack right there. But for the 095, that might be using a bit of right front, especially on the entry of the corner, so he has to be wary of that as the run progresses.
Yeah, when you diamond the corner like that, you do have to steer the car a little bit more than what Austin Johnson's doing. You see him just way closer to the wall, keeping it there, holding a consistent steering angle, and it's faster for the 095, and I'm not dissing him for using it. It looks like it's working, but could be using a little more right front that he might need for the long run.
Something you don't see once you step out of the car. Oh, we got a yellow here. Looks like, let's see where that was.
Mark Frimpong, I think. We have not seen him up here at all today, which is a really big surprise. He's usually pretty good here at Bristol.
Starting position really plays a factor in that. Mark started 36th. I think, starting that far back, it is really hard to make your way up.
Yeah, that was definitely him just coming up on that 73 of Brandon Elias here. We come off of, I believe this is turn number 4. He just turned straight up. This is the back stretch, but yeah, he just turns straight up and then gets hit by the 14 of Michael Kenner there.
Yeah, it looks like Mark was looking around the 74, he did, I mean, not the 74, the 73 Elias, right as soon as he hit the wall, and Mark ran lower than what he anticipated to, and unfortunately, he tried to slide up right in front of that 73, and he paid the price, and as well as took the 14 of Michael Kenner in the process with him, but that'll reset the field yet again, so this will give a chance for Austin Johnson to get a rebound on and rethink his lines out right to maybe catch the 095 of Parker White, but White has just been so dominant ever since he's taken that top spot. He's led 108 laps out of the 124.
Yeah, as soon as he got up there, he was just a class of the field. He even has right side damage, which technically at a track like this should make you a lot slower in the corners, but no, it seems to have the opposite effect as White has just been the class of the field all day. The only other car to lead laps was Kevin White Jr., and as soon as he got past, it hasn't been the same race ever since. It's just been Parker White gone almost the entire race.
And you wonder the difference it could make if iRacing were to have a choose cone system, because then, you know, you'd have Austin Johnson. Maybe he could elect to take the high side and give the little bumper to the 095, maybe heading into turn one on the restart. It is something you see with the bottom line being so much worse than the top line. It is really hard to get yourself situated down there in time to be up with the leader.
Yeah, that's right. The only real viable thing I could see that low line having is just by slide jobs, and I wouldn't see that coming into effect until we hit just about 50 laps to go, or 40 laps to go at the wire. So for Parker White in the 095 and Austin Johnson in number 31, Austin probably have to wait out with an aggressive move into the corner, and you know, try to run your own race for right now to get to that, I'd say, lap 200 mark.
Yeah, we saw Blaze Crawford in that 404 try to do it early. He just could not get. They just had so much speed on the top side. He could not get there. My bad. That was my fault for my button. I'm gonna shut up now.
White will looks like elect the high side. You go ahead, Max.
So we're coming to the Wonder Green here. I'm just wondering what could possibly play out different on this restart. I mean, hard to think, you know, try to think positively. You think something could change. Obviously, Parker White doesn't want anything to change, but you wonder, could Schmidt make a charge at the 095 maybe from the top side? You just wonder how many different possibilities there could be other than, you know, kind of like what happened last night, or last restart.
iSCAR's and green flag is out, and Parker White gets a nice one over the 31 of Austin Johnson, who opens up the door for the 79, but I'm pretty sure Johnson will be able to slot in right in front of that number 79 is Schmidt. And indeed he does so, but man, Parker White's restarts have been king ever since the drop of the green. He's pulled himself now by 0.3 as a quick caution is going to come out, and a big wreck in turn number 4.
What happened here?
The 82, the 42, Mark Frimpong and again involved.
Christopher Weil as well. Maybe Michael Bianchini. This looked like a lap car wreck here, guys.
I don't believe Weil was involved. Maybe he was just slowing down because I don't think he was in it. He was already missing his front end.
Burrows, maybe? Yeah.
Oh, it seems as though Burrows was trying to shove it to the underside of the 41. You see everybody just really nowhere to go. But I wouldn't really pin that as much on Burrows, nor on the 42. I think they were just both trying to work it to the bottom side. And for Cole Williams, it seems as though he missed the entry at turn number 1 and opened up the door for Burrows to try to nose in on the inside. But unfortunately, Cole is also trying to check up because the 025 was a bit slow on the high side. See all these drivers right behind, nowhere to go. But it's sort of a hard to explain on how that wreck all initiated. But unfortunately for Burrows, just two drivers going for the same piece of real estate, and they made contact. And you see the 15 of Josh Patterson got really lucky as he actually blinked as soon as that wreck happened. Oh, looks like he did get a bit of damage, and looks like he did all F4 after that, but I thought he got through it.
Well, you talk about the reverse diamonding, I guess you would call it, in the corner, especially up front, where they enter a bit lower than they actually run through the center. And I think that's really what you saw with Burrows there, is he entered really low just to get the car to push up a bit. But obviously, the 42 and the car above him, Michael Stubbs in the 025, they did not do the same thing, so they got together.
A very close call for the 32A. Andrew Ramos there had to race his way in, almost got involved in that one. But got very lucky. The big one just started happening on the high side. They didn't move down low. He moved down there, and he avoided it somehow.
How about this call by the 095? A lot of drivers, actually. I'm curious why the 095 of Parker White's in 7th place. I'm not sure if he spun or something like that. We'll try to get a replay, but I'm not sure if he sort of like caught up in some sort of incident under the caution. But
Just
Parker White
pitted.
is... He might have pitted. I'm not really sure, but... Oh, he did spin!
Oh, what happened here? Must have been on the cooldown.
Yeah, I was curious, like, why is Parker White all the way back in 7th place? He was the leader. Caution comes out now.
Does he spin out from the lead, maybe?
Oh, don't tell me he got caught up in the wreck.
Oh, he had to
Oh,
check
he had
out
to come to a stop, and that lost him all the positions.
Yeah, that's when the car.
Wow, he got lucky, though. Well, he sort of did.
That's going to be hard to make his way back up from, for sure, especially since Austin Johnson was able to keep up with him, and now we'll have the top spot, and he'll have to move up 6 spots to even have a shot to get back at him.
Here's that shakeup I guess I was looking for, maybe we were looking for. We're going to see a very, very different restart here.
Yep, that's right. With now a new leader of Austin Johnson in that number 31. I'm curious on how he's going to lead the field to the green. He elects the high side like Parker White. We go back up and away here at Bristol as they work themselves into 1 and 2. Looks like William Schmidt in that number 79 is going to have a hole right in front of the 56. He'll slot himself into 2nd place. Nice job by the number 79.
Bit of a checkup right behind them, as you see Colton Zimmer actually up here. We saw him like hanging around the lower top 10, but now he is up here, you know, just trying to hold on that bottom side. And,
Speaking of...
Nah, go ahead.
Speaking of lower top 10, here's Frank DeAngelis in the 69 car. He's had some close calls with the 62. Anthony Burrows has been a part of those saves that he's had today. But he moves in the top 5 and looks like Michael Kenner around in turn number 1.
11th caution of the day for Michael Kenner. And not for Michael Kenner, for the race here, as we see what happened here. Looks like we had a car down there, not going to really be a factor in the wreck. But Kenner, oh, just going around like that. I honestly don't know, not sure what happened from that angle.
He's been really loose all day exiting the corners, and it looks like that's just what happened again. He spun.
Another
clipped the
wreck.
apron a little bit on exit
Ooh.
of 3.
That's another wreck in which I'm very, very surprised that nobody else got involved in. The 14 spun like... He stopped right in the middle of turn number 1, and that's where you usually see a lot of cars pile up in, but... The 73 of, I think that's Brandon Lidas. He tried to get off the 14, but the 14 was already so loose, hitting the apron right off the corner. And unfortunately, they made big contact, and that sent the 14 around.
Yeah, usually this is the track where you see a lot of plowing into the crashes, but surprisingly, everybody's been really good on the brakes today and has been able to most contacts.
Man. We'll get another restart for the number 31 of Austin Johnson. Number 79, William Schmidt, will start in 2nd place. Again, it just seems to be a track position race. Not a lot of drivers taking as many chances to drive it to... I mean, they can't really take the chance on tires because the line around the racetrack is just so funneled in.
You know, we see Frank DeAngelis and Colton Zimmer up into the 5th and 6th spot. and good runs for both of them. I haven't seen Frank quite as up here as he's been. You've seen him hanging around just below the top 10, but now he's really made his way, up into the top 5. Started 17th, gained 12 positions. And, like I said earlier, you're just going to see those net positions gained and positions lost fluctuate even more for drivers throughout the rest of this race.
Hold up again. And you are right with your call out right there. The number 69 of Frank DeAngelis up 12 positions. The car right behind him, though, Colton Zimmer up 15. And a couple right behind of Dane Cruz and that number 80. He's up 19, as well as the 49 of Sertaj Mahon. He's up 15 positions. The 151 of Aaron Brown, he's up 23 of where he started. So he's slowly trickling himself inside this top 15. But there's still a lot of laps to go as of right now, as these drivers get situated. Probably going to get the one to green at the wire, but you were right. Positions gained and positions lost are starting to fluctuate now.
Yeah, a lot of that is not only avoiding getting into these wrecks, but also figuring out a way to stage and set up a move so that way you can just get by in the cleanest manner possible, not hurt your stuff up too bad trying to go for your spots. And obviously some cars like Bruce, Brown, and obviously DeAngelis, all of them figured it out rather quickly. We can make it on a tank of fuel, I believe, from here as well, guys.
Especially with all the cautions we've had tonight, I think it is going to be very easy for these drivers to stretch their fuel. As we head into turn 4 here, pace car is going to come off, and we are about to go green.
Pace car scoots itself on the pit road. The 31 of Austin Johnson elects the high side for the restart, and he'll get a nice restart into turn number 1. Looks like William Schmidt didn't get a good one, but that lower side in turns 1 and 2 will slide him into second spot. Close call right there with the 00 and the 79, but they all single out within this top 5. But right behind, Frank DeAngelis in that 69. Oh, he'll find a slot in line right in front of the 095 of Parker White, and he'll slot himself, it looks like, 7th place. But everybody singles out here, working on lap number 144 out of 250. And looks like the 79 Willie Schmidt, he nearly got caught there on the low side. He got caught sleeping on that restart, and he nearly lost a ton of spots.
Something you see when these cars slot in, Schmidt slotting into the second position on the high side, and, that caused a massive checkup. You saw Mitch Hobbs just get the wall there. It's something you've seen all day where cars slide up and massive checkups on the high side, because at that point, everyone's on the high side. It is a scramble to get there.
As well as Ryan Kendrick, who had a rough go with the wall today. Looks like he might have brushed it again. He's up into the 3rd spot now. As we go on board with him, you can see him starting to reel it in. Looks like he's learned his lesson a little bit and is taking a little bit lower of a line. It's good to see him up here as William Schmidt goes under the 31 who hits the wall.
Not going to go anywhere, though. The 79 is going to have to back out of it. He just lost so much time to that number 31. I think what William has to do is you got to force that number 31 into a mistake in which that bottom side can open up. But William, he tried forcing it to the low side, but he paid the price, and he lost a couple of car lengths there to that number 31. So for William Schmidt, I tried to tuck yourself right behind that 31, and I wouldn't push him into the corner and make him hit the wall or anything like that. Just start pressuring him into a mistake, but we'll have to wait a caution as we're starting to wreck yet again. Right up off the corner.
Kevin White and Michael Stubbs, looks like.
Cody Webster involved as well, as long with Christopher Weil.
Almost
like
Corey Long in that, too. That just sucks for Kevin White. Was having such a good day. And it looks like he might have just spun out here. He might have had some help from that 7 of Charlie Byard.
Oh, he was dead sideways already. Oh, he was still trying to correct the car.
He just came back up and then had nowhere to go for that 7. Looks like
you
Stubbs.
guys are going to have to take a look at the 41 and the 9 car as well. They were also wrecking at the exact same time.
Oh yeah, there was another wreck. It looks like Christopher Weil and Cody Webster as well. Looks like Weil just spun around, and yeah, that all started with Cody Webster. I would be surprised if that was not pinned on him. Oh, same thing that Mark Frempong did to the same person.
And same drivers, yeah.
Yeah, just looks
that
like
might be a recurring
pattern for Cody all day. It's just been coming up just a bit too much. You know, you got to be mindful of where the other cars above you are, and it's just not been a strong suit for the number 9 car. He's gotten into his 3rd or 4th incident tonight.
I'd have to imagine Webster's either at or close to an incident penalty at this point with how much he's wrecked tonight. It's been an unfortunate night for him, as that probably would be a 3 out of 3, I'd imagine, as well for him.
Cars coming down pit road here, something we haven't seen since that the end of that last long green flag run. Hopefully we see not hopefully, we may see some changes here. Looks like we won't, but looks like car either hasn't come in yet, or because of the long pit road. Yeah,
Visconti and Corey Long both missing their stalls. We saw Corey Long almost get involved with that 147 of Kevin White in that last crash as White came back up onto the racing surface. Long didn't expect it because he was just coming off pit road. So maybe a good call from this 93 if he's not several laps down.
Yeah, something that surprised me before that caution came out, you saw Parker White was 8th, almost 2 seconds back. He has not been the same since he lost that lead. I was really expecting him to make a sort of a charge here, but that high side is really just dominating this race. It's hard to go anywhere.
Look at this. The 62 Anthony Burrows had 3 amazing saves today. Is the leader for the time being. I don't know if he plans on staying out or not. We'll have to see here, but I'd imagine the cars behind him will pit here.
Yeah, decent shakeup for the lead here. If the top 3 here don't come in, looks like they will stay out. Obviously, I think this could cause some problems, as you see Michael Stubbs in 3rd, but he is missing his front end. I do not expect good things when the green flag comes out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've done something similar. If you look a couple weeks, last week I actually had the same thing at Dover. I ended up killing a car that probably would have had a shot to win that race. So it's not a smart thing to do, but hey, more power to him if he thinks he can make it work.
Well, we're about to find out here as we get the 1 to green. Cars are doubling up. Your front row now is Anthony Burrows and Charlie Byer, 2 names we haven't seen up front. They've been strong, but they have not been up front. So we'll see how that works out for them. As pace car is about to come off, we're in turn 4. Pace car comes off, and we're ready to go green.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out.
Restart.
And Burrows, another good restart. He'll drag the number 31 of Austin Johnson, as well as Colton Zimmer in the 09 into play. Looks like William Schmidt will finally skid himself to the high side, but I'm curious to see on how the 62 of Anthony Burrows will function on older tires. He slaps the outside wall in the process, so this will allow the 31 of Johnson to maybe scoot himself to the backside of that number 62, but looks like it seems as though Burrows is just playing his lines out right. He's also running a different line than what these leaders are. I mean, what was the leader, that number 31, but you see right there, Johnson closes up the gap between himself and Burrows. We might have a fight here for this top spot here momentarily.
Look at this 09 of Colton Zimmer. He's up to 3rd place now somehow. We have a caution. Looks like Parker White.
Aww.
He had like 100 and I want to say 20 laps left. That might have just hampered everything here. Looks like hard to judge yet.
Ooh.
Looks like Mitch Hobbs and Sartaj Mahmoud made contact before he got there, and it just made his car loose on the entry of the corner.
Oh, it was the 80 of Dane Cruz who was trying to work himself down low, but not as big of a wreck as I thought it was.
Yeah, I think Cruz was just trying to avoid the crash, and Parker kept coming down. I think he expected them to either overcorrect or stay up there.
Yeah, as soon as I think Parker hit the rear end of Mitch Hobbs, it sort of upset his car and it made him it made him loose. And of course, Dane Cruz in that number 80 really nowhere to go from that, but this cleared a couple of lap cars. I mean, not a couple of lap cars, a couple of drivers who were on older tires to the back. And I mean, Charlie's retained, looks like 8th place for right now, but for the 62 of Burrows, it seems as though staying out was key, and I'm fairly surprised that 62 is keeping his position for now, especially with all that damage on that right side and rear end.
Yeah, not sure what the strategy was for the 025. Obviously, the 3rd car to stay out under that last caution. He just completely yielded on the restart, lost all the position he had gained from it. I'm not sure what he was going for there.
Also, that was a pretty brutal hit to the right front of 095 there of Parker White, and we know how this Cup Series damage model can be at times. That could be engine damage that could be critical if the 095 wants to have any shot to get back up here and be a shot at the win. But Anthony Burrows somehow managed to hold off that 31.
Yeah, we'll have another restart, and Johnson doesn't have as many lap cars. I mean, I keep saying lap cars. As many cars on older tires right in front of him, so we'll have to start himself on the bottom side, though, so you don't want to get caught sleeping on the restart, because the 09 of Colton Zimmer is going to have a huge opportunity to pass this number 31.
Yeah, I mean, a crazy shakeup here as Burrows has been able to hold that lead. You know, so someone we really didn't talk about off pit road was Colton Zimmer, who gained quite a few positions. He went from maybe 6th or 7th to up here in 3rd. And if they ever get by Anthony Burrows on those old tires, he'd be up there in 2nd, maybe contending for the lead. We'll see what happens, as Burrows could possibly be holding him up just a bit, maybe bunching up the field due to his old tires, but we'll see.
For sure, that's definitely what's going to happen. Burrows, it doesn't matter how good of a driver you are, your tires that worn can't last very long, and I think that started to show, but he got saved by the bell there as the caution came on in the perfect time. How about Colton Zimmer? That is an amazing run for that entire team. Started in 22nd. That's an amazing run so far. I hope he keeps it up. It's been impressive to watch him make his way up the field. Anyway, here we go.
Yeah, it looks like Burrows is going to elect the high side for the restart. We'll go up and away yet again at Bristol on lap number 164 out of 250. Burrows will hit the throttle and we go green. And it seems as though Johnson will get clear with a 56 of Atkins in a 1. We'll see if Atkins can try a crossover. He'll drive himself down to the bottom side of the racetrack, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere. But the caution does come out yet again, and there's a big wreck right behind.
Oh, no. Kevin White again. Looks like Christian Visconti involved. And then more cars involved. Nick Miller a part of it. Other cars a part of it, as I believe that's the 02 Sim TV car of Liam Sheen. In a plume of smoke, became a steam engine because of that one. Oh, Garrett Hess might have been a crucial part of that wreck. Oh, I see it. Yeah, that was the 02 coming up on the 777, it looks like. And almost a wreck up here, and then it just... Wow. That was big. Yeah, that was entirely the 02, I'd say.
Wow.
It's Christian Visconti. Oh, Michael Stubbs. Parker White gets through it, which is great for him, obviously, but it looks like he may be off the pace. Casey Drake. Oh, that was brutal. Corey Long had a nice little drift there. Looks like Dan Cruz involved as well. Kevin White. Just everybody piling in, nowhere to go, and he's on the high side and everybody's running it.
Yeah, you saw Garrett get involved in a wreck really early in this race. I believe it was the lap 10 wreck with Bachman in front of the leaders. But I haven't heard much from him all night. I knew he was running around top 15. It's unfortunate this is the way we have to get an update on him, but yeah.
That took out a lot of top 10 capable drivers, Dan Cruz especially. Looks like Frank DeAngelis. Oh, that sucks. I thought he had it avoided there for a second, but that'll take him out as well, it looks like. Liam Sheen, obviously. So a lot of pretty heavy hitters for the championship are out of this one. As, wow. I kind of have no words for them.
Well, there's that big wreck everybody was sort of searching around for. It finally happened, and it took out a lot of contenders right there. Liam Sheen, Frank DeAngelis, Dane Cruz, Cade McGee, Michael Stubbs Jr. Might be the 14. Nope, looks he made it through the wreck, but yeah, that took out a lot of drivers off of that exchange. And what was a 43 car field once we took the green has now dwindled down to looks like 21 cars on the lead lap, and not all of them are competitive either. So this is we're now starting to see all these drivers filter to the top. All these drivers who now survived this entire event now start to filtered into this top 20. The question is, can they carry the speed in for a win or a top 5?
Yeah, a lot of these wrecks, it seems like, are caused by one of two things. One, brake checks, and then you just get ran over, and there's nowhere to go, and it usually causes a pretty big stack up. What we saw was the second one, which seems to be just trying to clear yourself coming off of a corner and not seeing the car on your right side, and just turning yourself effectively, and it just creates massive pileups, especially entering the corner like that last one was. We saw a lot of cars just nowhere to go as they thought that they were going to be committed to the corner and nothing was going to happen.
Car starting to double up here as we get the one to green. No new faces, obviously, with just being a wreck in the back. We haven't seen new faces up here in the top. You just seem to wonder how much longer will Anthony Burrows go before he comes into pit.
Alright, here we go. iSCAR scoots itself on the pit road. Green flag is out, and Burrows got a better restart than that number 31 of Austin Johnson. And it seems as though Colton Zimmer in the 09 has found himself to the high side of that 31. So looks like Colton Zimmer in that 09 is probably going to get second place. No, I think Johnson got the run on the center 3 and 4. He's going to clear right up off the corner. So probably the first time we've seen the inside line really work there for that number 31. But he lost a lot of time to the 62 of Burrows in the meantime of that. But now, since he's got himself clear of the 09, he has a chance to close back up that gap. But look right behind, Caden Atkins is dead sideways. He opens up the door for the 79 of William Schmidt. And he's still sideways.
Yeah, Anthony Burrows may have gotten a break there, but as soon as Austin Johnson made that pass, it shrunk by 4/10 in 1.5 laps. So I think, unless there's another saved by the bell caution, I think we're going to see a new leader in a second here.
Cars starting to run really low exit, especially like Colton Zimmer running in the middle and even the bottom on exit. Obviously still running high through the rest of the corner, but looks like William Schmidt's starting to get impatient with him for third place. As we see nearly a pass to the lead here, looks like Austin Johnson's going to try and go for it one more time here. Not quite enough speed to get there, as I expect him to keep going for this lead.
That might be a good strategy in that 62, making him work for it and burn his tires in the process as well. Because now the 31 burning through his tread a little bit, trying to get by the 62 of Burrows. So this is really smart driving from a possible future Coke Series driver here.
Burrows in the 62. I'm not sure how he's going to be fending off the number 31. I think what Burrows has to do, he has to run that high side, and hopefully the 31 of Johnson doesn't get a run through the center of the corner. Just like right here, seems as though Johnson can't get a good entry. I mean, can't carry corner speed through the entrance of turn number 1 and 2. And that in turn is just stalling him out. So Burrows is doing a nice job of defending for now. The question is the 31 going to get impatient and put the bumper to him?
This is a classic Bristol battle nowadays where you just see a car manage to hold the top side and just try to hold on to any speed that they have left and just manage to somehow pull miracles. That's the great thing about this racetrack. You can't really predict what's going to happen next.
Somewhat similar to what we saw here in the real-life race here. Kyle Busch just trying to get past Kevin Harvick, couldn't quite do it. But, you know, that's the way Bristol works nowadays. You just wait for maybe the leader to mess up. You know, it is hard to get around them, and some could take that as a disadvantage. But for drivers like Anthony Burrows, Kevin White Jr., who led a couple laps in the beginning, I say they're in favor of it.
Really surprised Burrows is bending out the 31, but Austin, it seems as though he just doesn't have the passing opportunity as he gets loose right up off of turn number 2. The 31 is, you don't want to be pressured too much into a mistake trying to catch that car in front of you, as the caution does come out, and it seems as though the 7 of Bayer has spun around.
One of those cars that had stayed out on that same strategy started alongside Burrows in the front row at one point. Looks like Blaze Crawford possibly. Ooh, that was not on Crawford at all. That was definitely Bayer just getting loose, slowing it down, and Crawford had nowhere to go there.
Yeah, as well as the 7 of Bayer, he clipped the apron and it sort of probably upset his car, and around Bayer went, and another wreck, and another wreck that we've seen. It seems as though it seems to be a weird trend that I've never seen at Bristol before. A weird trend in which a lot of cars just sort of slide to a stop and not get a lot of damage as I expect to. So, for the 7 of Bayer, it seems as though he got lucky, but unfortunately he's trapped 1 lap down.
Yeah, and Burrows, another caution where.
Oh, split strategy, but Burrows will hit pit road by himself.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, he was one of the only cars to stay out when he did, so not very surprising to see him one of the only cars to come in. As we see Kevin White here also making his way in.
I'd have to imagine that was for fuel. Just considering the fact he was able to hold off the 31 at Johnson, maybe it was for tires, but I don't know. He was able to hold them off really well. Anyway, looks like that car is damaged enough to warrant a pit stop, as they will put 4 tires and Sunoco fuel in this machine. Maybe some repairs, and he'll get set on his way in 13.97 seconds.
Yeah, obviously, Burrows stayed out as long as he possibly could. And I'd have to chalk that up to either fuel or just knowing when to walk away, because, you know, that 31 was charging as hard as ever during that last run.
Up and
Colton Zimmer in second now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm fairly surprised we still have a lot of drivers on this lead lap, but I mean, a lot of drivers still out on the racetrack as of right now, but this in turn will shuffle it for the. Oh, it looks like we have 17 drivers on the lead lap, but multiple lap cars from 18th all the way to 27th. So about 10 cars are at least 1 or more laps down. So
we've had some top 10 shuffles.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Aaron Brown, Garrett Hess, Ryan Kendrick shuffles back into the top 10. Looks like Harrison Poindexter, a big mover, into the 7th spot. Lost the truck points lead last night in last night's race. Got suspended in that series for an attempted intentional wreck, but here he is today in the top 10 as a largely clean car has just survived everything, I'd say.
Yeah,
and as soon as I say that, he has front end damage.
A little bit of front end damage. Honestly, a little bit hard to gauge with all the rubber buildup that you see, especially at this track. As you see, you know, 13 cautions, anyone's going to get damage. I'd be surprised, you know, to see any clean cars out here. Like the 31, 79, about the only super clean cars on track. Everyone else has a little bit of wrinkles and stuff. But, yeah, 13 cautions do that. As the pace car slides off, we are ready to go green.
Green flag is out, and it seems as though the 09 of Colton Zimmer was sleeping there on the restart, but he had the hole to slot in line for that 2nd spot as the 79. Oh, a bit of net code contact there with Quentin Warman and William Schmidt. William still sort of hiccuped on that momentum, but now he'll get back into line and try to go in for this top 3. But look at right behind Aaron Brown, Caden Atkins. They're gonna go side by side for this spot. They're not really gonna go anywhere as the 151's dead sideways right above the corner. We'll have to slow it down to just around 100 miles per hour to get it reeled back onto the racetrack. But up front, it's all Austin Johnson and that number 31. Did I mention there was $15 up for the winner?
Yes,
oh yeah, Austin Johnson. I think we'll be the one walking away with that $15. If this is anything to gauge by it, we'd have to see that 62 of Anthony Burrows really have to work on that wheel to get back up there and get the lead. But I think that's his only competitor right now.
Yeah, laps have really wound down here, nearing the 200 lap mark. As we see, you know, I feel like these cars have had struggling to pass all day. But, you know, obviously, the leader is able to gap. But as soon as they lose that lead, you know, you saw the 095 lead 100-something laps. And he's all the way gone. He's gone. He was running around 8th and got wrecked. So it's a matter of when you lose the lead and you're done. So
Burrow's in the top 10 now, so he's coming. He's narrowed it down by about a 10 from what he was a couple laps ago. So it'll be interesting to see if he can work his way around these cars as he gets by Poindexter now for that 9th spot. He is really working at that wheel, trying to get by as many cars as he can before his tires start going down.
Yeah, Poindexter's not a name I've been thinking about a lot today, but here he is up on the top 10. You know, very strong driver. He was running up front in the Truck Series race last night, but you know, got turned. And honestly, really surprised to see him up here. Not surprised, but like surprised under the circumstance. I've not seen him all day, and good to see another familiar face here in the top 10. As we see Ryan Kendrick looks at the low side on William Schmidt. This will be for the 5th position. Schmidt tags the wall, and maybe looking at third is Ryan Kendrick. Not quite momentum. Looks like he might try to slot himself in here. No, still looking on the low side.
Meanwhile, Anthony Burrows up in the 7th. Can he get 6th? Can he move into the top 5? Try to salvage anything he can. There was a point in this race where he thought we were going to see him stuck in the mid-teens all day, but now, look at him now as he's passing cars super easily. Those tires, I think, are starting to play an effect. As long as we go green here, he might have a shot.
Really impressive run by the 00. Ryan Kendrick, he has worked the bottom like no one else has done today. As you see the 404 of Blaze Crawford right behind him, also looking for a position. Looks like the 09 is starting to fade hard.
Oh! They both tagged the wall.
They're still going. The 09 starting to get maybe impatient from all the passing that's been done around him. Look like he's fade. He's fading as car is really starting to work the low side.
Oh, looks like Burrows is going to be able to clear the 09, and Colton Zimmer will slot himself into 4th position for right now. Burrows will have to pass at least 2 more cars to get himself up to that number 31, but looks like Ryan Kendrick, he is coming. He worked himself out of nowhere. Now he works himself to the bottom side, and here we go for the lead. Kendrick to the low side, but the caution does come out.
Also, it's worthy to note that the 00 and 62 were both on new tires. They moved up to 2nd and 4th. Looks like Casey Drake is the cause of the caution, but that 00 and 62 are bad fast right now.
That caution could not have come out at a more convenient time for Austin Johnson. Just about got past for the lead. Not quite though. Very lucky break as we see. Oh, hard tag from the 151 of Aaron Brown. Sends around Casey Drake. It looks like Aaron maybe got in. Yeah, help from the 93. Got around.
That's another one
down
of those.
The track.
That's another one of those cautions we've seen where people are just clearing themselves, and it's never working. But it's worthy to note the 62 of Burrows and the 00 of Kendrick. Every single lap. Guess how much faster they were? 2.5 tenths of a second every single lap than that number 31. So they are definitely going to have something here if the 31 doesn't pit.
I'm gonna be
honest. There he goes.
I have no idea where all the speed came from in that 00. I know he had fresher tires, but that is unheard of speed that we saw out of the 00 that last run. Just blowing by people on the bottom. Something we haven't seen all night, even with people on older tires. You know, you saw Burrows keeping the lead in check for a little while there on older tires. It's just something you haven't seen. Kendrick on new tires destroying the field.
Yeah, that was very weird to see the 62 of Burrows pit, considering he was on the same strategy that Kendrick was. Judging by the speed Kendrick had, it would have worked out for him, I think, to stay out, but hey, more power to them as they come down pit road. Looks like Schmidt down pit road as well. Okay, Nat King's Quentin Warman. We're seeing a lot of these cars that were getting passed by the 62 and 00 pitting in now. So I think they're trying the same strategy they were.
And out they go.
Worthy to note, we're in the last quarter of this race as well, so this is when we're going to start seeing tempers flare, probably.
Yeah, that's right, and this is also the time that we start to see a bit of strategy start to kick in. If you save the tire set toward the end, if you're all right on the fuel, and if you're all right and all right mentally as well. But I'm curious for the 00 of Ryan Kendrick on how he's gonna function up front. But he didn't run a lot of laps on his new set of tires on that run. So if we do get a long run, if we see a caution, I'd say with 20 or 15 laps to go, that's when we would start to see some split strategies being made. With only 15 cars on the lead lap as of right now, if I'd say I'd see a lot of drivers on pit road, because you could easily make up 15 spots on new tires. But well, we'll have to see on how this plays out to their favor.
Yeah, it's worthy to note as well that we were pretty close to the caution record, I believe. About 15 or 16 cautions, I believe, is the current count. I'm looking in the Discord for that number, but yeah, we're getting close to that one, so we might even...
I believe saving a tire set is very beneficial in a league like this where the cautions happen. You don't get a lot of wearing on your tires. It is very easy to go a good amount of a run on tires to save one at the end.
Here we come, boys.
All
Hold them
right.
belts tight one more time.
That's right. Pace car will scoot itself down to the pit road. 00 of Ryan Kendrick has shuffled himself to the front. Will hit the throttle now, and up and away he goes. As a 14 of Michael Kenner, seems as though he picked up a bit of ground, but now is getting attacked by the 31 of Austin Johnson, who works himself down low, or at least tries to! Johnson goes around, he nails the inside barrier, and slides to a stop, and the man who was up front and leading the majority of the race is wrecked.
Oh, man, just like Parker White, he wrecks out of the top spot, 45 laps led. If it wasn't Parker White leading, it was most likely this guy. And now it's not him either, as he will drop all the way to the back and probably pit this time.
Yikes.
You know, reaffirming what I said earlier, with the shorter runs and cautions in this league, you know, it is really beneficial to save a set of tires for the end, and it is easy to do that as well. As you see, just a one-lap run, it's going to benefit whoever saved a set, as the 31 just tagging the 14 on exit. Looks like he came up, yeah, just a bit too much, just misjudged it, something we've seen all night. Unfortunate for the number 31.
Worthy note, caution number 17 of the day right there. I believe the record is 18, so we're getting close to that one.
The record was 9 last in the Cup Series. But
Yeah, we have broken
overall,
that for sure.
I think it was 18 or 19.
Either one of those two, but we could break that. We could even get into the 20s if we're lucky. Or rather, unlucky, I should say.
You see car coming around, that's Brandon Lighties getting his lap back, or I believe he might be on the lead lap, but I could not be sure of that. So many cars are varying amounts of laps down. But don't think he'll be a factor overall. Maybe he could battle for a couple positions in the back, because, you know, only so many cars are on the lead lap.
It's worthy to note. Look at all of these battle-torn race cars. Look like Michael Kenner, obviously a part of that last wreck, has been a part of just about every wreck, it seems. But you can see all the rubber build up on his car, all the damage built up on that car. Another car, Kevin White Jr. has been involved in a few cautions here. I believe his front end is entirely gone, but he's up here. Blaze Crawford as well has a bent front end. Anthony Burrows has had to save the car many a time. 31 laps led for him. So, a lot of cars, even though they're damaged, that's just the miracles of Bristol. You can have a damaged car and still be up there contending for the lead.
It is something you see at Bristol, but it's a recurring theme tonight. Something you see at Bristol. Bristol, again, a very unique track. Cars can still be very competitive after wrecks, and it's something that's shown every time you come here.
I still can't believe that we've seen both leaders tonight crash out of this one. That is wild.
I think the biggest surprise here was the downward spiral of the 095. Really not his fault at all. Having to check up for a wreck in the back sent him to about 7th place, and he was never able to recover due to being caught up in those wrecks that he honestly should not have been in at all due to his circumstances. Probably one of the unluckiest falls of the night.
Yeah, it seems like even if you drop back just a couple of spots, 5 or 6, like what happened with Parker White and especially Austin Johnson, that can be enough to ruin your entire race and derail your great run immediately, as we saw with both of those drivers. Anyways, we're coming to the green.
Here we go for another restart. We're less than 50 laps to go. Ryan Kendrick is going to have a mirror full of that number 62 of Anthony Burrows. Green flag comes out. We'll see if Kendrick could get clear of that number 62, but I think once the 62 gets into second place, Ryan Kendrick has to be on rails to get going, because I'm pretty sure the 62 is going to do all he can to catch up to the 00. Burrows is actually going to try the low side, but looks like it's just not going to work to avail yet. But he made up a bit of ground there, but looks like lost it on the straightaway.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing a lot today. These are the two cars that were reeling in Austin Johnson.
Hard in the wall in the back. This is the 21 car. Hard in the wall is Carson Poindexter.
Oh no, that's bad for him. He was running the top 10, but yeah, those two cars were both reeling in Austin Johnson by 0.2 a lap. And now they're battling for the lead, so this should be a great battle we're coming up on here, as Blaze Crawford might even be a factor.
Alright, so Burrows, looks like Kendrick slipped up right up off the corner, and this is going to give the opportunity to Burrows to fling it to the inside. The question is, will he get clear, or will Kendrick try to slide him right into line? Maybe a crossover coming into one, but looks like Kendrick doesn't have the bite. Right up off the corner, and new leaders, the 62 of Burrows, and Kendrick is in trouble because he's getting swallowed in by the 404 Blaze Crawford.
I cannot believe that Kendrick did not try to slide up high after getting clear by the 62. He is going to drop like a rock. Stuck on the bottom, they're going to fly by him.
That was a slide job attempt and a half from that driver. That was an amazing move.
Caution is out.
Caution is out. That is a record-tying 18th caution. Who is that involved?
Mitch Hobbs.
Looks like. Oh! Yeah, that did not look normal. Might be a disconnect?
Was he trying to wreck
He
it?
just didn't lift.
Yeah, he didn't lift, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure
that
who
had to have
that
been
car
a-
was right in front.
That's Miller, I think.
Miller might have also gotten DQ'd as well. Looks like he
That
did.
was definitely an incident penalty, yeah.
And Mitch is definitely going to get DQ'd off of that, so... not only that, probably an association suspension for that one.
Looks like a controversial call, as big conflict in many chats over that.
Yeah,
one.
what I'm hearing is the number 95 of Nick Miller did get incident penaltied and disqualified from the race. However, he also disqualified the 89 of Mitch Hobbs for an intentional wreck attempt, which apparently was out of pocket because he was the car involved in the incident. So that will definitely be something sorted out post-race. I'd imagine some tempers flaring like we were mentioning here at Bristol. But as Max mentioned, a record-tying 18th caution, so you may witness history here tonight.
Shows you how much you miss with such an action-packed track. Obviously, nothing can be said for sure because everything still has to be sorted out. But yeah, a lot of conflict that we unfortunately haven't been able to see just because of the sheer amount of it.
Well, that's just short track racing chaos at its finest right there. A lot of things going on at once, but at both ends of the racetrack. And that in turn, you know, that is... Whew.
I'd say this is the...
It's not going to blow well.
This is the material we expected from Bristol and more. This has been, despite being a caution fest, it's been a pretty amazing race, just like last night at Chicagoland. We had a great race, despite the amount of cautions we had.
Looks like just about 26 laps to go as we're going to take here. Maybe we will double up. Pace car lights are going to turn off. No, they will not. Should be getting 24 to go restart, possibly. I think there are enough cars in here. Hopefully, if we don't have another oddball wreck like the 31 had, I think we could go into the end here. And if that happens, I don't think the 404 quite has the speed to get the 62.
Yeah, it sounds like that will probably be a pretty hefty penalty between the 95 and 89 post-race. They're going at it in the chat. I'm looking right now. They are not happy with one another.
Like pace car is going to come around, cross the start-finish line one more time. Will we get the one to go?
Wait, what happened to Ryan Kendrick?
He might have pitted.
He's ninth, yeah.
Ryan Kendrick did fall back. It might be to his advantage to pit. You know, with the track position lost, you might as well pit. He, as you saw, he got freight trained on the bottom. Maybe
among those that
he
pitted,
knows something we don't.
Yeah, Kendrick, Johnson, Kenner, looks like Aaron Brown, Charlie Byer all pitted there. So this will be a fun one as we come into turn 3. Will Blaze Crawford have anything for this 62? Who looks like he might have a shot at this one.
iSCAR will scoot itself onto pit row. The 62 of Burrows, all he has to do is just survive these final 25 laps and he'll come on in an iSCAR winner. His green flag comes out. Crawford did not get going as expected, but look at Burrows. It seems as though the slower speeds allows him to work the bottom sides of 1 and 2 on the restart, and that in turn pulled himself by 3/10 already.
Big pull from the 62 here as we see the 09 Colton Zimmer's held basically that same position for quite a few laps. You know, not something I really expected from him. I knew he was up there, but I did not expect this strong of a run from Colton. This consistently too. You've seen cars shuffle in and out for a little while here. Colton's always been up here. Double file racing right behind them is the I'm not sure who that is. That is the 31 getting around the 147 along with Michael D. Kenner in the 14. Lots of side-by-side action right around here for that gaggle about 11th to 8th place as they seem to be sorting themselves out here. Aaron Brown trying to get around Kevin White. Obviously no front end. Probably, honestly, could be holding him up. But out front, Anthony Burrows still retaining that lead.
Zimmer's trying to fend out the 56 of Caden Atkins as I'm very surprised the run.
Cars around! It's the 151 and 147. Garrett Hess also involved. They tagged each other. The battle we were just looking at, Casey Drake also involved.
Also, that will be a record-breaking 19th caution.
Take a look at what happened here.
Oh, poor Aaron Brown just got wiped out as Kevin White Jr. tagged the outside barrier. Oh, and Garrett Hess in the 777 also got caught up in it. But luckily for him, not a lot of damage though, but he did get caught up in it. He actually flung to the low side, and oh, the 7 to Charlie Byer got very, very lucky off of that. The car who hit the inside wall, watch the 777 to Garrett Hess. He tags the inside wall, but flings back just in the nick of time for the 7 to have a hole and a gap through.
Casey Drake, a victim of not holding the brakes. Unfortunately, the 147 rolled down and clipped Casey. As we see Blaze Crawford come to pit road, that's very surprising.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Once we hit this 20 to go lap mark, you'll start to see some split strategies being played out. Do you wanna? It's almost as these drivers are gambling with cautions. You got to play your cards out right, and hopefully you're gonna be there in the end. But for all these drivers to say themselves out, they're betting that I saved my tires all the way, and hopefully I could survive all the way to the end, and hopefully cautions just play in the right favor for me. But look at this. People who pitted 11 laps ago, people who pitted now, people who pitted 30 laps ago. They're all within this top 10. It's just a matter of how they're going to hold up for these final 15 or 14 laps. The question is, are all of those even going to be under green? So it's again, as I said, it's a gamble. A very, very big gamble. For
Remember Austin Johnson. He's now up here again as well, but he has no front end, so I don't think he'll be a factor. I didn't know he had no front end, but here he is, back in 5th spot. Again.
Yeah. Also surprising to see Colton Zimmer down pit road, but I mean, you can really, it's a gamble, especially in the sense that there are only so many cars on the lead lap. You have to gauge your track position if you want to pit. You know, you're going to come out maybe 10th as opposed to a race where there'll be more cars in the lead lap. Obviously, there's not very many, so it's easier to get up to the front.
I'm hearing the 89 of Mitch Hobbs did use an exploit saying that he had a black flag for a different reason to get rid of his black flag for a incident point penalty, which I believe is punishable by suspension, but we'll have to see. Caden Atkins now up into the 2nd spot. we haven't seen him in that spot for a big majority of the day. Last time he was up there was when Kevin White and Parker White were leading that race. But obviously things have changed since then. Will Caden Atkins have anything for the number 62? Will the 00 of Ryan Kendrick take the lead back again?
Something from the driver's seat, you know, you see in many iSCAR races, you see cars either accidentally or maybe a little bit maliciously, intentionally clearing their black flags or getting their black flags cleared for pit road penalties, but also, oh, cars, we are not going green, we are extending another lap. But yeah, those penalties, they get pit road penalties to clear their incident penalties as well. It is not uncommon.
That's another lap that those cars that just pitted will have to try to make up for by just going a lot faster now. That inside's probably going to get checked up, I'd imagine, by the lack of a front end on that number 31 of Austin Johnson.
Wow, another lap added under yellow. So this is not looking good for all these drivers who hit pit road. And this is...
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, this is less racing for them to duke it out. I'm really curious why admins are adding laps. There's just only 13 laps to go. It's just... It's going to be hard for... it's sort of a hard call to add laps like in this kind of scenario. I wouldn't add laps now. It's sort of bizarre, but this is hurting all these drivers who hit pit road. They're going to have less racing out on the racetrack. Now, what was supposed to be like a 15 lap to go restart now is turned into a 12 lap to go restart, or 11 laps to go now. But...
You know,
yeah.
2 laps could be the difference. You know, 2 laps doesn't seem like much. That would, you know, that's the length of an overtime finish. There is plenty of racing room in that time to happen that is now slashed.
Yeah, I'd have to...
Anthony Burrows elect the inside.
I'd have to imagine that must have been down to some admin decisions that were being made over the current controversy that's going on surrounding Nick Miller and Mitch Hobbs. But I could be wrong there. It could be for Lucky Dogs. But anyway, we're finally going to get a restart here with 11 laps to go in the Red Line Racing 250.
Pace car suits itself on the pit road, 3 wide right behind as Colton Zimmer goes to the high side of Michael Kenner. Charlie Byer also in the mix as well, trying to split it 3 wide. They're side by side for this position, though, as here comes Schmidt, who's dead sideways right up off the corner. Caden Atkins, though, in the 56 is trying to pull ahead of this 00 of Kendrick and get himself clear so we can gun for that top spot. But, oh, 3 wide. Johnson clips the 79, and around he goes. But looks like he'll keep it off the wall. But unfortunately for Schmidt, we'll have to go down pit road because that's the only option.
I cannot believe Ryan Kendrick already back into the picture, looking for second here, going to try and chase down that 56. We talked about the gamble, you know, coming down, and it might work out for him here if he already lost that track position a few laps earlier. As we see Blaze Crawford up to 4th, too. And Colton Zimmer rounding out your top 5. All those 3 guys all pitted earlier, and we thought came to that as somewhat of a surprise, but yet here they are.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we even have this many cars on the lead lap, but how many people have been involved in recent crashes. Even 8 cars sounds like a lot, as here comes William Schmidt back on the racing surface. That's unfortunate for him. He was running top 5 basically the entire day, and that gets completely screwed over due to no fault of his own. But anyway, Anthony Burrows pulling away from everybody else here right now, as Kendrick goes under Caden Atkins.
An unraveled run. Looks like Kendrick is going to possibly lose that spot to the 404. Blaze Crawford taking advantage on that high side, but Anthony Burrows opening up that lead. Looks like he may be able to hold on to it.
Colton Zimmer was not taking any of Ryan Kendrick's slide job right now. He put him in the wall on the front straightaway, but Kendrick was able to retain that spot for right now. But here comes the man with the freshest tires into 3rd place. He only has 4 laps to make something happen, but he's too far back to catch Burrows, who's already entering 3. Blaze will try to work himself to the underside of the 56 at Atkins, but there were 3 laps to go this time by. If a caution does come out, though, we will go into green-white checker territory, but I don't think it's going to happen based on how many cars are on the racetrack as of right now. 3 laps to go, though. Might now make it 2 as Burrow across the start-finish line.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. It looks like for the cars that did pit, they just can't get around in time. There'd have to be a caution, like, right now in order for anything to happen, I think. And here it might be. No, he saves with Blaze Crawford. An amazing save as we come to the white flag.
Colton Zimmer still looking to take it 3 wide as, Anthony Burrows opening up a lead. What a scramble for second place, but Anthony has very much taken advantage of that. I cannot believe there was such an incredible
Oh,
battle.
they wrecked!
Colton Zimmer turned for
And
third
Out of
place.
4, Anthony Burrows will win the Red Line 250 at Bristol. Incredible.
Unreal.
What a performance.
And there was a white flag wreck in the meantime of it, but Anthony Burrows in the meantime has pulled off
In
a
the
shocker.
circle.
And he
Great
wins
run
it
for him.
here tonight at Bristol. What a charge in by that number 62 to pick up the big old win here at Bristol. Not only that, come home with $15 as well. And they wrecked for that second spot. And that in turn caused a bit of a shuffle up as well. And there was only 7 cars on the lead lap by the end of it. And for all these drivers who are inside this top 10, they're even lucky to be there.
Yeah, Blaze Crawford and Colton Zimmer making that contact. Anyway, Anthony Burrows, your winner. Caden Atkins, second. Blaze Crawford, then Ryan Kendrick, Austin Johnson, Brandon Lightus, Aaron Brown, Colton Zimmer goes a lap down but retains 8th anyway. Charlie Byer and William Schmidt round out your top 10.
Ori Long, Frank DeAngelis, Garrett Hess, Brendan Warwas, Christopher Weil, Michael Kenner, Christian Visconti, Kevin White Jr., I was about to say Malachi Drake, Michael Bianchini, and Carson Poindexter round out the top 20.
Incredible to see the amount of laps lost by these drivers. So many DNFs tonight. 21st, Casey Drake, followed by Malachi Drake, Quentin Warman, Mitch Hobbs, Paul Granada, Sartaj Mann, Parker White with an unraveled run. He was a very, very strong car tonight. No fault of his own, falling out, followed by Dane Cruz, Michael Stubbs, and Liam Sheen.
31st place today, Cade McKee, then followed by Nick Miller, having that controversy with him, Mitch Hobbs, then Cody Webster, Andrew Ramos, Cole Williams, Mark Frimpong, David Bachman, Josh Patterson, Brandon Sampson, and Andy McDowell round out your top 40.
41st, Miles Nelson, Zachary Thornton, and Joe Berge round out the rest of the top 3. We'll be right back right after this for the iSCAR Red Line Racing 250 as we interview out the top 3 here. Top 5 here for tonight's event. We'll be right back right after this. We welcome everybody back here live for the Max Speed TV event here, presenting to you the iSCAR Red Line Racing 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to the number 62 of Anthony Burrows for picking up the win here for tonight. And we're going to go ahead and drag him into the booth here momentarily. But before we do that, well, guys, first thoughts and first post-race thoughts. We'll start with you, Max. What'd you think of tonight?
Honestly, it's kind of what I expected. I mean, unfortunate to say about iSCAR, there are a lot of cautions, though. Especially this season, we've seen a lot of cleaning the racing earlier, but we did see a couple really good runs. Honestly, the green flag runs we saw were really good, which is, you know, a pattern in here. But a record cautions, I'm not surprised. iSCAR plus Bristol is going to do that.
I have to say, 7 cars on the lead lap was a little bit of a shock to me. I did not expect that little of cars to finish on the lead lap. But that's what happens when everybody's just going at it all day. We had some cars that were missing front ends, finishing in the top 5. That's how severe it was. But overall, I had a fun time up here.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys did for your debut broadcast. Of course, with Max Urek, of course, but I mean, for Hunter Rupp, of course, he's been in the broadcast a couple of times, and oops, sorry, apologies about that, but on the meantime of that, we'll go ahead and drag in a couple of people into the booth here for tonight. We're going to go interview for Caden Atkins in that number 56, and Hunter Rupp will go ahead and interview him out.
I think that may have been the wrong person.
Oh, yeah, it probably was. We'll go ahead and try to drag him in. There we go.
There we go, Caden Atkins. You must be pretty happy with that performance here today. 2nd place. I don't think anybody saw that run coming. Walk us through it there.
Yeah, I'm really happy. That's my first top 10 since my first iSCAR race in an oval race. So, yeah, I started 9th, and then I got into the top 5 pretty early and ran there pretty much the whole race, and then lost some track position, but fought back, and I didn't really have anything for Anthony there, but he was really fast. But yeah, I'm really happy to get 2nd place here.
Walk us through those last couple laps, holding off the 09 of Colton Zimmer and the 404 of Blaze Crawford. That must have been very difficult to do, considering how fast they were at the end there.
Yeah, they had fresh tires, so I was just running my line and trying to pinch, but I didn't want to get myself wrecked either, so I had to be a bit careful. But I saw them, I guess they wrecked trying to get around me behind me there, so yeah, just happy you got 2nd here.
And then obviously the news this week, you are the new owner of Peak Performance Motorsports, bringing it hopefully back to its former glory days. How do you feel about that? For one of the first races back, and you get a 2nd place finish.
I think this will maybe make people take this more seriously, because a lot of people thought it was a meme or a joke, but I kind of want to, I don't know, I had a lot of fun at PPM, and I kind of want to bring it back, and hopefully we can get some good drivers, get some good runs in, and maybe win some races.
All right, well, 2nd place finish for Caden Atkins here tonight, but before I let you go, any sponsors or people you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Precision Designs. Dane Cruz, he makes really good paints. You see the one on my car right now. Go check him out. Precision Racing Designs on Instagram. Get yourself a good paint.
All right, well, good job, Caden, on your 2nd place finish here tonight.
Thank you.
Skirt herself back 1 position to the 404 of Blaze Crawford in that machine, who finds himself in 3rd place after running 250 laps at Bristol. Congratulations on your 3rd place run here tonight, yet again inside this top 3 for the 2nd day in a row. Blaze, congratulations. But first off, first thoughts of this post race. I mean, of course, a hectic race from start to finish. How'd you survive here for tonight?
Oh man, it was quite the race. It took quite a while. It was stressful, to say the least. I was anywhere between first. Actually, no, I was never first. That's a lie. I was between 2nd and like 40th the entire time. I up and down. Ran into a few people. It was just probably one of the most chaotic iSCAR races I've ever been in.
Luckily for you, you come out on out with the top 5, and of course it benefit you in points as well. You go from, well, all the way around 50th place in points, and all the way now to looks like 32nd in points. So you're slowly crawling up through the ranks. But all in the meantime of that, how was your car overall? You did have a bit of front end and back end damage.
Oh yeah, car, you know, it looks KO'd after that mess at Bristol. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into playoff contention. Tonight was good to get P3. I think I could have finished second, maybe gotten the win with the tire strategy as I took all 5 sets of my tires, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But you know, obviously I got this front end damage from this dude named Nick Miller. He just decides to full break it for absolutely no reason. Didn't really understand why he did that, but I'd let that slide. And then by the end of the race, you know, coming to the white, got this 9-year-old named Colton Zimmer on my back bumper. He just drives through me in 1 and 2. He's a little upset that he got my car loose and he got the worst end of it. But you know, coming out third, you know, can't be too mad. Back-to-back days getting interviews, and you know, that's the big goal, you know, here is getting those solid interviews.
All right, but 10-4, you round yourself out in 3rd place here for tonight's event. But before we let you go, any sponsors want to thank you for tonight?
I gotta thank my boy Hunter Johnson for not showing up tonight. Gotta thank the Big Yoder for giving me some love on the TikTok. Gotta thank my boy Max Brady for not showing up, because I know obviously if he showed up, there was no way I wasn't gonna finish 3rd. He's probably gonna beat me. So glad he didn't show up. Gotta thank Lito and the boys, obviously back at the shop, the Nanja Pyre facility. Gotta thank Mystery Man, Carlos Marvin, Christopher Jackson. Gotta congratulate Slaw on his earnings today. I may not like the kid, but you know, he made earnings today. But yeah.
All right,
You done?
10-4 with Blaze Crawford here for tonight. We'll go ahead and see you coming to your next race, bud.
All right, peace out, fellas.
All right, we'll go ahead and screw ourselves back 1 position to the 00 of Ryan Kendrick. Into the booth it goes. Max will go ahead and interview him.
Ryan, dude, the thing I was most impressed about you tonight is how you ran that bottom side and you were really able to make it work, especially on that little run there where you shot out to the lead, dude. Tell me how you did that.
Yeah, I thought I could maybe get an advantage on tires there, and I don't know how many laps we ran. I guess it was enough for it to make a difference and be able to make the bottom groove work pretty easy there. And yeah, I was hoping that we could have gone a couple more laps there, because I would have gotten around Austin probably within the next 1 or 2 laps there. But yeah.
You were really strong, but like a lot of cars were very fluctuating tonight in the positions. You fell back a little bit as you got freight trained on the outside, but you were able to come back, dude. That was really impressive. Walking through the way you came up through the field today.
Yeah, it was just really a lot of luck with cautions and restarts, because every time I would restart on the inside, I'd lose 3 spots, and then, or no, I'd lose like maybe 2, and then restart on the inside again and lose another 2. And then once I got to the outside, I was able to, you know, pick up spots and then keep restarting on the outside, and eventually just make my way up into the top 5.
Anyone that you'd like to thank tonight? Any sponsors?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. Malachi, Casey, Aaron, everyone at Proximity, and yeah.
So thanks for being in here. I was rooting for you, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
That was the 00 of Ryan Kendrick here for tonight, and that will probably all be here for interviews and such like that. But before we let go of tonight's broadcast, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here for tonight. A total maximum viewers of, I think, by the looks of it, a total of over 28 people were watching here for tonight's race. I want to thank all y'all for watching, as well as Max Speed TV for putting on the show. I'll also thank again Max Urick and Hunter Rupp for joining us for tonight's broadcast. But before we let you go, any last thoughts? Any last words y'all want to say?
Yeah, I thought it was a very fun time. Obviously, very exhausting for everybody involved, but you kind of expect that from a Bristol race. If you don't get that feeling by the end, it wasn't really a true Bristol race, was it? But it was great tonight, and I had a lot of fun.
I don't really have any comments. That was a fun race, and ran long, 3 hours from the time the session went up. But It's what you expect here at Bristol. 250 laps, long race, very prestigious. I was happy to see Anthony come away with it.
Yep, and that is right. From the top of the booth, my name is Ezeckiel Reyes, and of course Hunter Rupp and Max here alongside of me. Thank you all for tuning in for this Max Speed TV coverage for the iSCAR RaceLab's Cup Series, round number 6 out of 20. Next week, we're actually going to go into a special event, so go ahead and tune in for the Turkey Derby once that does come around. Our last race of the week will happen on Sunday when the Xfinity Series does hit it at, I think, Dover, Richmond. I don't even know. They're at somewhere. But in the meantime, thank you all for watching for the Red Line 250. Until next time, we will see you tomorrow night.